25 years. Your home for Minnesota Twins baseball.
It is another glorious day. It's just been a fantastic week of weather here in the Twin Cities. Beautiful to sit outside and watch some baseball. That's what we'll do again today as we close out a 4-game series. The Twins and the Yankees series is brought to you today on Fox Sports North by Subway. Hello and happy 4th of July from Target Field. I'm Marnie Gellner. This game is an American tradition. This game and this holiday really go so well together. One person who truly understands and appreciates that is Twins manager Ron Gardenhire. His dad was a longtime member of the military, and I asked Gardy about the significance of playing baseball on Independence Day.
This is what, this day is all about. It's our freedom. And that's always a cool thing for me, being from the military background that I was in. My dad and everything was always really proud. He wasn't big on firecrackers or anything like that, though. But this is a big day, and I think it's special how baseball, does all these things, and we have a lot of big pregame ceremonies and stuff like that.
And today on the 4th of July, the Twins will hand the baseball to Kyle Gibson. Gibson will make his second Major League start. Dick and Bert preview that when we return to Target Field.
Is presented by Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealers today. By Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by South Dakota Tourism. South Dakota, your American journey begins here. On America's birthday, about 40,000 Twins fans will celebrate at Target Field. Final game of the series between the Yankees and the Twins. A gorgeous day for baseball and a very happy 4th of July from everyone here at Target Field. Dick and Bert with you. with the Twins still looking for their first win against the Yankees in this 4-game series, and they hand the ball to youngster Kyle Gibson.
You know, Kyle Gibson just making his second major league debut here last Saturday. Kyle Gibson faced the Kansas City Royals, showed a lot of composure, went and ended up getting 3 outs in that first inning, put a 0 on the board. The Twins rewarded him with 5 runs in the bottom of the first. Don't know if he'll get that here this afternoon, but Kyle Gibson, 6 very good innings with 5 strikeouts, no walks in that ball game. Always a key to success.
In that Kansas City game, the key for Kyle Gibson and the Twins pitchers, don't let Billy Butler beat you. The key for the Twins, especially today after all the damage he's done, try not to let Robinson Cano beat you.
He has been a one-man wrecking crew in the first 3 games in this series. 7 for 11, 3 home runs, couple doubles. Boy, the Twins need to face this guy with nobody on and hopefully 2 outs. So, you know, Cano, yeah, he's been outstanding, but for Kyle Gibson, get the first hitter out and face him with nobody on.
The key for Kyle Gibson, get the early run support perhaps that he got when he faced the Kansas City Royals. His first start, an overwhelming success, will bring his second major league start to you on the 4th of July. Often we are reminded just how big a price. It is our responsibility as citizens to remember the sacrifices of those who help protect us. Today we reflect on what it means to be an American as we celebrate our freedom with America's Game. Special caps on this special day. And every time he takes the mound for the foreseeable future, it'll be a special day for Kyle Gibson.
Well, Gibson again making just his second major league debut, and happy 4th of July to everybody out there.
And Joe Girardi's Yankees coming into this series with a 5-game losing streak, but they have won the first 3 games of this 4-game series. Girardi's Menard batting order has Ichiro Suzuki leading off, Zoilo Almonte batting second, Robinson Cano, Travis Hafner, Vernon Wells, Lyle Overbay, Luis Cruz, Alberto Gonzalez, and Austin Romine.
I think what we saw from Kyle Gibson in his debut against the Kansas City Royals, 11 ground ball outs, 5 fly ball outs. So he did a good job of keeping the ball on the ground. He himself turned a double play in that ball game, so that's his goal here today. Keep the ball in the ballpark and get some ground ball outs.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Oswaldo Arcia in left. Aaron Hicks in center. Cleet Thomas in right. Chris Parmalee moving into the infield. Justin Morneau the DH. Dozier, Florimon, Plouffe the rest of the infielders. Joe Mauer back behind the plate. Ryan Doumit will start this game on the bench. Ichiro Suzuki, Zoilo Almonte, Robinson Cano here in the first inning against Kyle Gibson. Up and away, ball one. So much hype surrounding his major league debut, much less so in his second go around. And a liner down the line. Suzuki starts the game with an extra base hit. And he will pull in at second with a stand-up double.
Well, you want to get back the count to even, but you can't throw a fastball right down the middle of a plate. And that's what he did right here. You can see that ball middle in. And Suzuki, I mean, the guy has almost 2,700 hits at the major league level, 1,200 plus in Japan. Gets his 9th double, a leadoff double here for the Yankees.
And now Zoilo Almonte, corner infielders shortening up a bit. Fouled back. Now when Gibson made his major league debut against the Kansas City Royals, Alex Gordon hit the first pitch to left field for an out. Getting that first out was very easy, as it turned out. And now a little adversity right away here in the first inning with Suzuki at second. One strike to Almonte. A base hit to right. Suzuki is going to be held. Thomas hits the cutoff man. First and third, nobody out.
Well, that looked like a breaking ball that stayed up. And Almonte, who came up in the middle of June, making quite an effect in that lineup for the Yankees, came in hitting .304. This is just his 15th major league game. And for Almonte, that's his 15th hit at the major league level.
And Cano, instead of coming up with a couple of outs and the base is empty, comes up with nobody out and runners on the corners.
Well, Cano on a 6-game hitting streak where he's hitting .583, 14 hits in his last 24 at-bats. And we showed you the numbers so far in the first 3 games of this series, 7 for 11.
Fouled away.
Jumping on that first pitch. There's the current road trip, 6 games they've played.
One strike to Cano. Twins hoping for a ground ball hit at somebody. They'll concede an early run to get a double play.
Maybe even a strikeout right here. Get ahead in the count, see if he'll chase a pitch.
In Gibson's 6 innings against the Royals, a couple of innings, the Royals got 1-out double, and Gibson successfully pitched around those doubles. 2 strikes.
Another fastball at 93.
He had only one 1-2-3 inning. It was his last inning of work, the 6th. So he spent a lot of time pitching from the stretch against Kansas City. Oh, 2. Fly ball deep left field. Arcia back at the wall, makes the catch. Tagging from third and scoring, and Arcia with that strong arm holds the runner at first. Setting up for a tag was Almonte, but Arcia with above average arm strength is able to hold the runner at first.
Yeah, that ball went a little bit further than I think that Arcia anticipated. Wind blowing a little bit out to left field. That ball hit high enough. Arcia kept going back, and right it meets the wall as he makes the catch, and then showing off that arm, and that keeps Almonte at first base.
Ron Gardenhire said just this morning that they feel Arcia's arm is above average, or average to above average for a right fielder, but certainly above average for a left fielder. And his arm strength and accuracy helped keep Almonte at first base. 1-0 New York. Here's Hafner. In the dirt, ball one. One last reference to Gibson's major league debut. When the Royals did score a couple of runs in the third, they strung together 4 singles. And that was the only inning out of the 6 that the Royals scored any runs. 1-0 to Hafner. Twins put the infield shift on for Hafner. Swing and a miss. 1-1.
Gibson, 25 years old, Twins #1 pick in 2009 out of the University of Missouri. 22nd pick overall in that round 1 of the draft. 2 good changeups. And Hafner swings through it.
One and two. Inside. Hafner has bounced into just 3 double plays this year in over 200 at bats.
Hafner again in his first season with the Yankees, 36 years old, originally signed by the Rangers back in '96. Spent most of his career in an Indians uniform.
Almonte has 3 steals and 3 tries.
After 213 major league home runs.
Gibson steps off.
We showed you Almonte right there. That's why, and I think I bring that up a couple times. Joe Mauer, the catcher, will give more than one sign with a runner at first. Some base stealers like to peek in. And if you're only using one sign and say it's a wiggle or a 2, they have a tendency probably more to run on that one than they would if they only saw the fastball.
Full count now to Hafner.
The one finger.
Vernon Wells on deck.
Watch Joe Mauer right here. See if Almonte kind of peeks in once in a while, but Joe, you can see more than one sign. He's not a peeker.
There goes the runner, and the pitch slapped to left, a base hit. Arcia's got to hurry. Almonte goes to third, and Arcia fires to second, and Hafner's in with a double. Arcia's throw to second on target, but the runner Almonte had rounded third base and had thoughts of maybe heading home.
Well, that's why that 2-2 pitch so important, and a good at bat for Hafner right there. I mean, Gibson got ahead, 1 ball 2 strikes, got it to 3-2, took that pitch the other way, and of course the shift playing Hafner to pull. He gets a double, his 6th double for the Yankees.
Vernon Wells, the batter. Wells getting an opportunity to play that he did not have with the Angels toward the end of his period there. Twins playing the infield back up the middle.
Yeah, be ready. Wells is a first ball fastball hitter, and he swings at a slider. The other day when Scott Diamond pitched here on Monday night, first 2 at-bats, he jumped on that fastball from Diamond and got 2 base hits. So the Twins start him off with that slider.
1-1.
Wells traded over to the Yankees in late March from the Angels.
Down low, 2-1.
Right now, not controlling the fastball. Again, that's the key. I don't care if you throw 94 to, if you're an 84-mile-an-hour pitcher. He's trying to get that fastball down and away. The breaking ball has been working okay, but the fastball. Suzuki got the fastball thigh high. Almonte got a fastball that he lined into right field.
Drilled down the line. Almonte scores. Hafner being waved in, and it's a quick 3-0 start for the Yankees. Everything has been hit hard, including the sacrifice fly to the warning track caught by Arcia.
And Rick Anderson's going to come out. You cannot pitch down the middle of a plate, and that's what he's doing right here. You see that ball, where that ball was on the Fox tracks, right there, and Vernon Wells jumping all over it, picking up a couple RBIs. Again, everything keys off that fastball. Get ahead in the count, and then you have to hit the corners. Sounds simpler than it is, but again, that's the key.
So a rough start for Gibson here. He was the beneficiary of a 5-run first against Kansas City, and here the Yankees start with the 3 quick ones. Gave up just 2 runs and 8 hits over 6 innings in his debut. Lyle Overbay the batter. And Gibson trying to get some balls put in play off the barrel of the bat here. Chopped, a foul ball, 1 strike.
Last 3 hitters up have swung at that first pitch, so maybe they're looking fastball. That's not a bad thing if you can control that fastball down and away or down and in, but I prefer away, as Overbay swung at a fastball down and away and fouled it off. Throw it off the plate like that, right.
And Arcia with the catch out number 2. That'll bring up Cruz. Today's cold hard fact brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. 81 games have been played, and here where the Twins stand in terms of where they rank in the American League, remembering that Houston's made it now 15 teams in the American League.
Not good at all. Not good at all. They have to play better. Bullpen has been good, 3rd, but starters, the highest ERA combined in the American League. Not good at all.
Luis Cruz, the batter, newly acquired by the Yankees. Jason Nick started this series as their shortstop, pulled a hamstring on Monday. The Yankees trying to tread water, stay in the race until they get probably first Alex Rodriguez back and then Derek Jeter.
Yeah, they missed their captain, Derek Jeter.
Swing and a miss, 0-2.
Yeah, Cruz started the season with the Dodgers, then designated for assignment the latter part of June, decided to become a free agent, signed by the Yankees just yesterday. Oh for 3 yesterday in his Yankee debut.
And Gibson finishes the inning. In his debut, a crooked number helped him to a win. Today it's the Yankees who put up a crooked number in the first. Twins have tried it the other way, where they've had an early lead only to see the Yankees come back on them. We'll see if they can succeed the other way. The Menard batting order has Brian Dozier in the leadoff spot, Joe Mauer second, Oswaldo Arcia moving up to the third spot in the batting order, Justin Morneau, Trevor Plouffe, Chris Parmelee, Aaron Hicks, Clete Thomas, and Pedro Florimon.
And David Phelps on the mound. He started the season in the bullpen for the Yankees. And then when Ivan Nova was put on a disabled list, he had a chance to start in early May, making his 12th career start, or excuse me, start of the season, his first career start and appearance against the Twins.
He knows all about rough starts. He had a bad one in his last start in Baltimore. The Northland Ford defense for the Yankees: Almonte in left, Suzuki in center, Wells in right, Gonzalez, Cruz, Cano, Overbay, the infielders, Romine behind the plate. Phelps has a 3-0 lead with which to start, and it'll be Dozier, Mauer, and Arcia.
Yeah, scouting report on Phelps: a fastball, 4-seamer, 2-seamer, sinker, curveball, slider, and a changeup. All 4 pitches. 26-year-old right-hander.
Strike one. Against the Orioles in his last start on June 29th, 2 1/3 innings, 9 hits, 9 earned runs, 2 home runs, a couple of walks, and threw only 61 pitches. Not nearly enough of them caught by the Yankee catchers. It was a terrible outing. Some thought that he might be taken out of the rotation because of that. Ivan Nova may be inserted into the rotation, but the Yankees giving Phelps another start. 2-1.
Kind of Phelps' role last year, too, in his rookie season with the Yankees. Kind of a guy in the bullpen, starter, spot starter here or there.
Swing and a foul, 2-2.
Spent 3 different stints with the Yankees last year. Made 11 starts, 33 appearances overall, 4-4 last year, with a very good 3.34 ERA.
Just a tad low. 3-2.
Well, trying to go inside. Foxcraft says that that caught that strike zone.
Dozier flips one foul. Twins have only scored 9 runs in the 3 losses here against New York. That will be an ongoing issue for the team in the absence of Josh Willingham, their most productive hitter in terms of run production of a year ago. Full count to Dozier. punch behind first. And Vernon Wells drifting near the line makes the catch, one away.
I think the difference in this series, Dick, has been multi-run innings. You know, the Yankees have scored 8 innings so far in the 28 innings played, but they've scored 2 runs once, 3 runs 4 times in an inning, and 4 runs twice. Those multi-run innings have just destroyed the Twins in the first 3 games, and here in the first inning, Yankees come out and put 3 on the board in the first.
Joe Mauer, the hitter, drove in a run with a single in the ball game last night. Strike on the outside corner. 4 losses in a row for the Twins. They lost the final game of the Kansas City series and the first 3 here against New York.
Yeah, Mauer so far in this homestand, just 2 hits in 25 at bats. Joe came into the homestand hitting .337, and now he's down to .316.
Breaking ball wide of the plate. 2-1.
Phelps signed by the Yankees back in 2008 out of the University of Notre Dame.
Slice foul. 2-2. Been an impressive series for the Yankees. Cano's hit some home runs, but most of the damage has been done like it was in the first inning. Singles and doubles and bunching hits together. 2-2 to Mauer. Full count. Twins trying to make Phelps work. It was a full count to Dozier before he hit his fly ball to right.
Yeah, Phelps has picked up some strikeouts, 70 strikeouts in 77 innings pitched for the Yankees with 32 walks. So a lot of strikeouts, a lot of walks will create a high pitch count.
Up the middle, a solid single to center. And that will bring up Arcia.
Well, fastball up, and Joe lines it right back up the middle, outer half of the plate. Twins get their first hit. See if the Twins can string some hits together here. Get back into the ball game. Score a run or 2 or more.
Yesterday, Ron Gardenhire kind of tipped his hand. Didn't surprise anybody, but he said Arcia would get almost all the playing time in the absence of Josh Willingham in left field. And now today, Arcia has been moved up to the 3rd spot in the batting order, where Willingham typically hit. Fouled away. And it's not an insignificant thing. Arcia only has 173 at bats. A handful of at bats in AAA. Really climbed through the system from A to AA last year. And now here he is hitting 3rd in the lineup. And the last time the Twins, we don't know how long this is going to last, but the last time the Twins moved someone to this spot in the batting order so quickly, it was Joe Mauer. Arcia's bat sticks in the grass at Mauer's feet. 2 down.
That's called getting jammed right there. Still has a knob of the bat in his hand as a barrel of the bat went out toward first base, and like a flying spear stuck in the ground right in front of where Joe Mauer was standing. As he pops his ball up, you see it stick right there.
I don't think they make him anymore, but I'm sure a lot of people can remember the game Jarts, where you threw the weapon would try to stick it in the ring. I don't think that they make those anymore. 1-0 to Morneau. On the outside corner, 1-1.
Phelps has given up 7 home runs, 5 of them to left-handed hitters.
On one hop to Cano. Mauer gets a single. The Twins come up empty in the first. It's 3-0.
Independence Day, and Twins third baseman Trevor Plouffe is a very strong supporter of military members and told me that his favorite holiday, no doubt about it, is the 4th of July. And on Monday, Trevor tweeted to any active serviceman or woman or retired, someone to answer him on Twitter and retweet would be eligible for 4 tickets. He was giving them away. James Ryan, who serves in the National Guard and served a year in Iraq, retweeted, Trevor chose your tweet. He left 4 tickets for you to today's game. Not bad.
Yeah, it was amazing reaction to it. It surprised me. It was late at night, and I got his retweet, and it was just amazing respect for players who respect everything we do. I mean, we don't want any thanks, but it was just amazing.
Well, this is kind of a nice day, too, because it's baseball, which is so American. It's the 4th of July, and it is a time when a lot of people will take the time to thank you for your service. I thank you for your service, and the Twins are definitely recognizing military members today.
Yeah, no, it's amazing to be out here 4th of July. I have amazing respect for everyone who served as well, even though I did, but past World War II, Vietnam, every war, amazing respect for everyone who served. So thanks to everyone out there, of course, who served as well, not just me, of course.
James, thank you. Happy Independence Day.
Thank you. Happy Independence Day, too.
Thank you. Dick and Bert.
Yeah, James, we couldn't have said it any better. We appreciate and love and respect everybody that serves this great country.
What did you do as a kid to celebrate the 4th of July? You and I grew up in different worlds. You're in Southern California and me in Western Minnesota.
Just family day.
Okay. Fireworks in the evening?
Fireworks in the evening, yeah. We didn't live too far from Disneyland, about 2 miles, so
yeah,
that was also
there every
part
night,
of our,
right?
yeah, that's part of our, 4th of July celebration. How about yourself?
Well, I would just want to ask you this. Were firecrackers and fireworks for sale in Southern California?
I don't know firecrackers, but, the little ones that would blow up on it as far as sparklers. And we had those little black things that you light up.
Yeah,
and
the snakes.
The snakes, and they'd leave a mark on my driveway. Our driveway. My dad used to get so mad at us.
Let's hear more from Trevor Plouffe about this special day.
No, I'm a proud American. A couple years ago, I decided that I just liked living here, and I was sick of people saying they didn't want to live here or kept complaining about why America's not a great country anymore. Well, I think it is, and I just kind of like to show my support.
Very nice.
2 ground ball outs here in the second.
Ishiro jumped on that second pitch from Gibson and lined a double down that right field corner. Later scored on a sacrifice fly off the bat of Cano.
I grew up in western Minnesota, and we would go over to the North Dakota, I believe, is where we went to get some fireworks. They weren't for sale in Minnesota. Swing and a miss. And we would get those little tiny firecrackers. That's all my dad would let us have. They were called lady fingers. They were about 1/5 the potency of a regular firecracker. 1-2 to Suzuki. Up and away. And sparklers. You must have had sparklers.
Oh, yeah. Sparklers.
Chop to the right side. It is. Might have hit the bag. Nope. Ruled a foul ball.
You want to hear the worst 4th of July I ever had? I was a paper boy. And if you get so many subscriptions, I'd go around try to get people to sign up for a paper. And I got a box of fireworks, and I was going to put the display on for my family. I was probably 12 or 13 years old. I lit the first one, but I had put the box underneath. And when all the sparkles went off, it caught the whole box on fire. So
that's a fair ball, and safe at first. Blow flung it across. He thought it was a foul ball, or is looking now at third base umpire Jeff Nelson. And I don't know that Plouffe threw the ball to first with the urgency, thinking it was a fair ball.
Well, you have to finish the play anyway, and that's what Trevor Plouffe did. I mean, look where his momentum was going toward the dugout of the Yankees, and Ishiro with his speed just beat it out.
A 2-out single for Ishiro, and now Zoilo Almonte. Well, it must have been impressive, though brief, your fireworks show.
Everybody was mad at me.
Wow. Probably were used to that at that point too, weren't you?
Yeah. Just another day in the Blyleven household.
That's blame Burt. Almonte with a single to right, his first time up. He later scored one of the 3 first-inning Yankee runs.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ishiro with 2 outs here. He'd like to get into scoring position. 12 stolen bases in 15 attempts. And over his career, he has stolen 464 bases.
First inning, a lot of line drives, but pretty much everything that was put in play was put in play through the air. And now here in the second inning, 3 ground balls, one of them for an infield hit. Down the line, foul. I think my greatest 4th of July memory was actually at Metropolitan Stadium. Would have been 76, 77, something like that. Doubleheader with Cleveland, I think. Rod Carew with a late grand slam. And such a great way to spend the 4th of July. It was a regular doubleheader, 2 games for the price of 1. Are you kidding?
Pretty cool.
Oh, man.
See if Gibson utilizes that slide step again as he did the last pitch. Yeah, just like that. Good breaking ball there. Almonte swinging over the top.
One and 2 to the Yankee left fielder Mauer to the mound. Something we didn't see a whole lot of against Kansas City. There weren't a whole lot of trips to the mound. There were meetings in the dugout between innings, but from the pitching coach or the catcher, they pretty much left Gibson out on the mound all by himself.
Yeah, I don't know if he was crossed up there or not on that pitch, but Joe going out and talking to Gibson about something. To me, you know, I mean, with Suzuki at first base, yeah, he has great speed, but you don't want to change what you're trying to do. Is that get the hitter out at home? He's ahead in the count right here.
Soft line drive over the head of Dozier. Suzuki to third. And the Yankees trying to put something together with 2 outs, and again Cano will come up with 2 men aboard.
Well, Monty picks up his second hit, so again he's leaving quite an impression here with the Yankees. Changeup. Went down and hit it softly over the head of Dozier. And with 2 outs, Suzuki off with a crack of the bat. He scoots over to third.
Cano with a deep fly to left. Arcia with a nice catch on the warning track. A sacrifice fly to score the first run of the game. A 2-run single by Wells added runs 2 and 3. Gibson's already given up as many hits here in an inning and 2/3 against the Yankees as he did in 6 innings against the Royals. Popped up center field. Hicks over, and Cano on the first pitch ends the inning. A pair of 2-out hits. They do no damage. It's 3-0. Trevor Plouffe hoping to spearhead a Twins comeback on this special day in America. Sports North is presented by Subway. Dick Kramer, Bert Blyleven, wishing you a very happy 4th of July, and I know Roy Smalley's sentiments are that as well. Happy 4th of July, Roy.
And to you guys as well. And I'm talking to you today from a completely different vantage point. This is so cool. I am standing almost in the Yankees on deck circle, and from this vantage point I've got such a great view not only of the pitchers' pitches coming up to the plate, but also, as you guys know, something close to my heart, watching the hitters' mechanics. This is wonderful down here. It reminds me, last time I had this view was the last time I played.
And you can work on your tan.
And we're doing that too.
Hey Roy, when you're down,
I hope it gets right through the suit coat.
Yeah.
Plouffe takes a strike, 1-1.
Roy, when you're down there like that, I see you. You're kind of stepping back. I see you wave at us here, but. Right-handed hitters, you're safe. Be careful on those left-handed hitters.
Left-handed hitters, you should see me peek over the top of this railing here.
Yeah, we've seen some balls shoot into that camera well, right where Roy's at.
Just outside 2-1 to Plouffe. He'll be followed by Parmalee and Hicks. Popped up, short right center. Wells coming in, Ichiro coming in, and it's Ichiro with the catch, 1 away. That'll bring up Parmalee. Roy, it's hard to tell from up here. You might have a better vantage point, and the Twins haven't hit anything hard yet, but it looks to be one of those days where the ball is jumping pretty well from home plate.
It really is carrying well. The ball that Cano hit to left field in the first inning, I knew he hit it pretty well, you could tell, but had no idea it would get that far, especially what we've seen in this ballpark in the past. But
The ball is carrying. There's a little bit of a jet stream going out that way, and I felt it when we were doing the pregame show up in our left field perch.
You're crouching like you're in a duck blind over there.
You know what? I almost can't get low enough on the left-handed pitcher.
I just circled you so the viewers knew where you were.
Yeah, I'm really just peeking here and out of the duck blind with left-handers up.
Quack, quack.
1-0 to Parmalee, a foul back. 1-1. Parmalee coming in to play first base. Twins didn't feel, or Ron Gardenhire didn't feel quite comfortable putting Ryan Domit in the outfield the day after his catching. His ankle still giving him some difficulty. 1-1 to Parmalee. Moved his feet. 2-1.
I spoke with Ryan Domit before the game yesterday. I said, how's your ankle? And he said, 100%. It's just great. And I said, you liar.
Yeah, he's one of those players. He's not going to let you know.
Absolutely not. Everything's fine.
2-1 to Parmalee. 2-2. Parmalee with a home run into the overhang in right late in the ball game the other night. Twins had a late inning lead, saw it slip away. Foul back. First half of the year, Parmalee hitting .233, 8 home runs, 18 runs batted in. A far cry from what Chris expected and what the Twins expected. First half of the year, 210 at bats. Two and two. And Cano again spears the first hop. Nonchalantly flings it to first. 2 down. Aaron Hicks will come to the plate. Our AT&T Twitter poll in this series, at least the last couple of nights, which player is a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer? Just vote for one, please. Would you vote for Greg Maddux, Mariano Rivera, Derek Jeter? Use the appropriate hashtags and cast your vote.
It's hard to vote for one because, as we talked about, all 3 of those gentlemen, when they are eligible, and Maddux will be eligible this year's ballot later in the winter for the first time, he should be.
Hicks lifts it foul.
They better all 3 go in first ballot. I'll tell you that. If those 3 aren't first ballot guys, there aren't any first. But you might as well just go to the second ballot for everybody else.
Well, I think Greg Maddux goes in with Tom Glavine and also Frank Thomas, so it'll be interesting to see if all 3 of them make it. All 3 had great major league careers.
You bet.
The DH factor will impact Thomas. You know, we anticipated Edgar Martinez going in as the greatest DH of all time, but that hasn't happened. Principally because he was a designated hitter, didn't play a position much after the first few years. 1-1. Tap to the right side, and Cano glides to his left, flips, and a 1-2-3 second inning for David Phelps.
Expeditionary Wing in Southwest Asia. I want to give a big shout out to the Minnesota Twins, woo, and my beautiful wife Andrea and her family. Huge Twins fans. Can't wait for the game.
Well, thank you very much, and yeah, let's acknowledge those families that because of military service can't spend the 4th of July together. Kyle Gibson hoping that he can have a 1-2-3 inning. He's pitched 8 major league innings and has had just one of those. He came close in the second, but then the Yankees got a couple of base hits with 2 outs, but no further run damage. Hafner will lead things off in the 3rd, ball 1. We're very happy that you've chosen to spend at least part of your 4th of July with Twins baseball. People celebrate this holiday in a number of different ways. You can watch baseball in person or on TV. You can eat 65 hot dogs if you'd like. Strike over the inside corner, but that, of course, is the whole point. We have the freedom to celebrate this day in whatever way we choose. So happy 4th of July. 1-1 to Hafner. He'll be followed by Wells and Overbay. Fouled away.
You know, guys, one thing that I've noticed in my terrific spot right here, I almost feel like a hitter again. And Kyle Gibson, when his fastball is down, the movement is real good. When his curveball is down, it's biting under all the bats. He just has left, as Bert said earlier, left a lot of balls in the middle of the plate.
Hafner hitting the thigh. He'll take first base.
I tried to go inside right there and just held on to it a little bit too long. His second time that he has hit a batter. Hit a batter in game 1. The right knee of Hafner.
You can ask a question at carsoup.com/baseball today. Jack in Two Harbors wondering what's impressed you the most about Kyle Gibson so far.
Well, you know what? You look at Gibson. I mean, you know, #1 pick. You hope that he comes up and makes an impression right off the get-go. His first start, he pitched well. He got a lot of run support early. That helped. Just had 1 inning that kind of got away from him in that Kansas City series where he gave up a couple runs. Here, gave up 3 in the first. How does he respond after that? Time will tell. It looks like he's got pretty good composure out there. Not too many things affect him, but we'll see.
Roy?
I agree with Bert. His poise and composure, I think, is something that jumps out. But I will tell you from down here, his stuff is really good. When he gets it down there, that fastball's moving well. The breaking ball he threw to Vernon Wells, the first pitch, had real good bite on it. But his is the kind of stuff where the movement happens down, but it doesn't happen, as with most pitchers, doesn't happen belt high too much.
What I remember in that first game, Roy, and I don't know if you were watching or not, but that ball got away from Joe Mauer, hit in front of Joe and popped to his right and behind him. But when he did get ahead, and he got to hit a lot of the Royals hitters, 0-2, that 0-2 pitch was always down in the zone. That ball right there tried to backhand by Joe. He's got to turn that glove and keep that ball in front of him.
Joe's a victim sometimes of his own talent. He is so good with his hands back there, and he expects to catch everything. And sometimes where most normal guys would immediately flop down their knees and block it, Joe expects to catch that ball.
Well, you have to get down and block that ball. That's the first wild pitch by Gibson. Hopefully it doesn't hurt him.
Arcia can't make the play. The ball rolls behind him. Hafner's being waved in. Here's the throw from Hicks. And it's a run for the Yankees. Arcia kind of reached out for it, sliding to the side of the point of impact on the field.
Well, the wild pitch does hurt right there. Is right off the end of the bat. Vernon Wells hits this ball. It's a fly ball. Arcia maybe hesitated a little bit. By the time he reacted, he comes sliding in, and the ball not caught. It got by him, and Hafner scores, and it'll be a double for Vernon Wells, driving in his 3rd run of the ball game.
That had the looks of a ball that should have been caught.
Should have been caught, but what happens a lot of times, Arcia had a real late break there because, as Bert said, ball hit off the end of the bat.
Gibson looks the runner back. Throws to Parmalee, and over base quickly retired.
A lot of times what will happen is a hitter that has a reputation of some power like Vernon Wells does, it takes a big swing. It's hard to see the contact when you're out there that far away. The bat was extended. He was way out in front. It looked like a long fly ball left swing, but it wasn't. It was almost like a changeup going out there because it hit off the end of the bat. Still should have been caught. Got a real late break on it.
Luis Cruz, the batter. Down and away, ball one. Seven early hits for the Yankees. A hit batter.
Gibson has one strikeout. That was Cruz to end the first inning.
Line to left. And Arcia plays that on a hop to third and beyond. It's another run for the Yankees as Wells scores. Another Yankee hit, another run. It's 5-0.
Cruz jumping on, looked like a changeup that stayed inside. He picks up his first hit in a Yankee uniform and driving in his first run. That ball stayed right there on that hitting plane. And Cruz makes it a 5-0 Yankee lead.
This is an amazing game. Every pitch that has been from mid-thigh to belt high has been hammered, and every pitch that has been down in the zone has been hit very, very weakly. It's just the nature of the game of baseball, especially at this level.
Alberto Gonzalez, the batter for the Yankees. Missing the inside corner, ball one.
Again, the fastball, he's not controlling the fastball either part of the plate, especially down and away.
Toward the hole. Florimon picks it off out at second, relay to first. Nice double play to end the inning. Started by Florimon to Dozier to Parmalee, yet the Yankees had two more runs in the third.
Always with you and your families, for all you that have supported this country and served this country. And as I've always said, again, being from a military background, it's a special thing for me. I loved it when my dad was in his uniform. And you know what, I appreciate the heck of what you do for us. And I'm glad that this country has 100% faith in you and backs you as much as I do.
Words from Ron Gardenhire, who was born in Germany because his father was in the military. Kyle Gibson having a pretty rough time of it against the Yankees. lot of hits, a lot of runs, and a 5-0 deficit as we start the bottom of the third.
I tell you what, I think we have seen some sloppy play in this 4-game series against the Yankees. The plays that should be made, not getting a big hit when they need to, just moving runners over. You cannot beat anybody. I don't care if it's the Yankees or the Houston Astros. You have to play fundamental baseball.
That's kind of been the story of this homestand, though. Even in the Kansas City series, the Twins won 2 of the first 3, but there were some areas of deficiency through the Kansas City series. That last game really got away from them. They obviously gave up way too many runs, hit some home runs, but bullpen had some issues. Swing and a miss by Thomas, 1 and 2. Twins have had periods of that. You just don't want this losing streak at 4 to extend out like the one in May did that went all the way out to 10 games. Thomas, Florimon, and Dozier here in the Twins' third.
Guys, people have been talking here about the Yankee mystique and their dominance of the Twins. But when you think about this, as we've been watching the Yankees against the Twins here in the Jeter Rivera era, of course they had big hitters, they've got good pitchers, but you don't remember them beating themselves or not doing the little things you're supposed to do. We had an evidence of it in the first inning after Ichiro doubled. Almonte moved the ball to the right side of the field. He happened to get a hit, but I mean it was going the right direction to get the runner from second to third, and they make the plays, and that's been a hallmark of these Yankee teams. As good as they've been, they've not had to overcome their own mistakes. They play the game right.
And that's always been the Twins' way, and I think over the last 2+ years we have not seen that. And to me, it all comes down to starting pitching. You have to stay aggressive. You have to pound the strike zone. You have to control your fastball.
Chip shot to right center field, and Thomas is going to get a base hit. Wells swoops in and gets it back to the infield, but a pop up for Thomas and a leadoff single in the third. You can cast your vote for the Arby's Value Player of the Game. Text the word value followed by a space and the player's name to short code 234-234. How many times? Well, just in last night's game, Twins lost a 1-run ball game. They had a lead in the third inning at first and third, and nobody out, and the guys in the middle of the lineup do up.
Right.
You've got to produce in that situation. The Twins got nothing, and it ended up costing them the ball game.
Yeah, that base hit by Thomas right there, almost the same type of base hit that Vernon Wells had in the top of the inning. Right off the end of the bat, Vernon Wells, a Gold Glove winner out in right field. Maybe didn't see it right off the bat, and the ball fell in that no man's land sometimes.
Florimon batting. Florimon's average settling now down to the 225 mark. He'll be followed by Dozier.
Florimon is a left-handed hitter, hitting .261. All 3 of his home runs coming from the left side of the plate.
Strike called. Point of playing the game, of course, is to win the game. But within that, the Twins in the second half of the year want to see improvement from the Florimons, Doziers, Parmeleys of the world. Certainly for everybody, you'd like to see a better second half than first half, but for some of the other guys who are in the lineup on a daily basis, they're more of a known commodity. We don't know whether Pedro Florimon can be a productive hitter up here. We don't know whether Brian Dozier can be. Aaron Hicks. As the Twins move forward from 2013, eventually they need to know the value of these guys and whether Florimon's going to be their shortstop, or is it going to be Danny Santana, who's in the minor leagues?
Well, Roy went through that when he first, was called up by the Texas Rangers. I mean, comes within. It's a drive that you have, the determination and the stubbornness that you have to want to get better. Roy, you went through that.
Absolutely, I did. I came up basically with the tag Goodfield no-hit shortstop, and I had to prove my.
Just kidding.
And I had to prove myself, up here that I could not only hit enough to play shortstop, but that wasn't good enough for me. I wanted to be a hitter, and it took me a couple of years before I found it as well.
And a liner to right. Florimone drives a base hit.
Good swing right there by Florimone.
So the bottom of the order, starting a rally, a single by the number 8 hitter, now a single by the number 9 hitter.
Quick hands, and you're right down there, Roy. That ball left middle in, it looked like, and he opened up quickly and got good wood on that.
He has quick, strong hands. You're right, Bert. And I'm sitting here watching him and watching that bat fly through the zone pretty well right there. And I'm just surprised. I watched him last year. It looked like he was going to be a good right-hand hitter and a work in progress left-handed. And as Dick, you mentioned, I mean, it's been just the opposite this year for this young switch hitter. He just can't seem to get it going at all right-handed. But left-handed, he has been a tough out.
Dozier in a fly ball to right his first time up. Thomas didn't hit his single well. Florimone did. Dozier drops down a beautiful bunt.
Stay on the grass. Stay on the grass.
Foul ball. Well played by Gonzalez.
Yep. Well, he had really no play other than to watch it roll. And if that ball stays on the grass, of course it stays fair. But once it hit that little cutout, Gonzalez watching the spin of the ball. I mean, great bunt right here. Laying that ball down, and with that little bit right there, you see the rotation of the ball.
And I'm standing down here with Larry DeVito, the wonderful heads groundskeeper here on this beautiful field, and I'm all over him about not slanting this line back toward the grass here.
And there it is, foul. There are ball clubs that do that. That line will be, lifted up a little bit to keep those balls fair. Especially, I remember the White Sox used to do that when they had a lot of speed way back when.
This playing surface is too beautiful to do anything different about it. It is just, I told Larry last night, I would have given anything to play on his field during my career.
1-1 to Dozier. Inside. Teams don't bunt like they used to, but they say it was commonplace when you'd come to a ballpark on the road as the visiting team. Somebody, a coach, maybe a player, would take some balls and roll them down the baseline to see whether they were tilted one way or the other.
We did that in Detroit in the '87 playoffs. I remember I took a bunch of balls and we rolled them down the first base and third base line. Actually, the ball came back fair on a ball just like that.
2-1 to Dozier.
St. Louis, you couldn't do it because of the turf they had there.
Now, we only had 2 guys on that team that bunt anyway, Bert.
Yeah.
Dozier pops it foul back into the seats.
Was that Herbie that went out there with you to see how his bunt down the third base line was?
Yeah, Bernansky.
Yeah,
Hawk,
Gaetti. Yeah.
But it was important for a guy like Gaetti to know that. I mean, if that ball's rolling that way, or whoever's playing third or first, same thing. Is that ball going to, rotate into foul territory, or will it stay straight?
2-2 to Dozier. Twins trying to build an inning here in the third, and instead it's a ground ball and a nifty double play to Cruz's left. A little flip to Cano coming across the bag. 6-4-3. Thomas to third base.
I'll tell you what, Cano is such a cool customer out there. Yeah. I mean, watch this. Cruz, little backhanded flip, barehanded catch, and then the relay throw for a quick double play.
We've been watching Cano all series, and Bert, I've been wondering what it would be like to not have an absolute care in the world, no matter what's going on around you. That nonchalance is it's incredibly impressive.
You each played with Rod Carew, and from time to time that was the perception of Rod at second base, that he was kind of cavalier about some things. Was that a fair evaluation, or in this case maybe a comparison to Cano near the tarp but out of play.
Bert saw Rodney as a second baseman. When I got to the Twins in 1976, Rodney had already moved to first base and immediately became as good a fielding first baseman as there was. But Bert, you saw him as a second baseman.
Yeah, he had soft hands, you know. I mean, and he would do almost what Cano did at second, just, you know, made it look so easy.
Right. That was kind of Rod's style, even in running the bases. You know, he just looked like he was hardly exerting himself. But, you know, was there a faster runner first to third?
I loved it when he hit a triple. It was like a deer just took off.
1 strike to Mauer and a ball.
Let's take another look at this turn. Now Cruz, little backhanded flip over to Cano, and it's not very hard. So Cano, what does he do? Just barehanded, step on the bag, get a good grip, and get it over to Overbay at first base.
And let's not underplay the play the shortstop made. That was a nice little play, pick up and flip. When a shortstop is given the ball to second baseman like that, especially on a play where there's a little bit of stress, to lay it up there up chest to eye level is really, really great, because it makes it easy for the second baseman to turn. That was a nice feed.
Nice feed. Yes.
Well, they should be able to do that. They've worked together all of about 2 days.
That's why a nice soft high flip was important right there.
2-1 to Mauer. Twins hoping to cash in here, at least get one back after the inning started with a pair of singles.
One thing the Yankees did is when they got Cruz, he's known as a good defensive player. Not much offensively, even though he got an RBI single in his first at bat.
Called strike 2 and 2.
Excuse me, a second at bat, but you know, there's Cruz.
Here's what we're talking about. Now watch how softly he lays it up right up there where Cano can see it, and if it had been down lower, it would have been tougher for Cano moving the way he was moving. But that was a really, really perfect feed on a play like that.
That's why if you come early to a ball game, you'll see that, you know, during batting practice.
Called third on the outside corner. Twins start the inning with a pair of singles, but Phelps pitches out of it. Special story on the rebuilding that continues around Moore, Oklahoma, following the devastating tornado in May, and how youth softball and baseball have given families in that area a slice of normalcy and hope. It's coming up later on Twins Live. And today, as we celebrate our independence and the continued pursuit of happiness, you can still help those seeking assistance after natural disasters by going to redcross.org or calling 800 Red Cross. A little tangent to that. Today in New York, they are reopening the Statue of Liberty. What a perfect time to do that.
Yes.
It had been shut down since the damage suffered during Hurricane Sandy. And today, what a special treat it would be to be in New York and go to the Statue of Liberty, a worldwide symbol of freedom and independence. 2-0 to Austin Romine, leading off the Yankee fourth. Gibson trying to work quickly here. The Yankees haven't really cooperated. They've already registered 8 hits through 3 innings, scored 5 runs, a 1-hopper to Florimo. 1 down. Americans helping Americans, a great message for this 4th of July holiday. It's also the idea behind Pitch In for Baseball. They collect and distribute baseball and softball equipment to those who need it most. And Roy Smalley, a project that is near and dear to your heart. You've been involved in a program like this for the last several years.
That's right, Dick, and I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it a little bit. I'm the president of the board of Pitch In for Baseball, and we delivered about $15,000 worth of equipment to the Moore, Oklahoma Youth Baseball Organization. There were 1,400 kids involved in that program, at least a quarter of whom lost not just equipment but everything in their lives, and we were able to bring equipment to them and get them playing again right away. We hear every time we do that, we hear from the parents, we just want the kids to think about playing ball and get their minds off the disaster, and that was really it's great to be able to do that for the kids in Moore, Oklahoma.
Hey, Roy, how can people get involved with Pitch In for Baseball?
Well, I'd love it if they would go to the website. It's pitchinforbaseball.org. And we literally help people all around the country and all around the world. Dick, you mentioned the opening of the Statue of Liberty after the damage from Hurricane Sandy. Our biggest project to date was 10,000 kids that we replenished all of their equipment because they lost everything in Hurricane Sandy up and down the East Coast.
2 down, Ichiro retired.
So we would love it, Bert. Thank you. If people would go to the website again, pitchinforbaseball.org, and there will always be the need for replacing equipment, sadly, or giving equipment to inner city youth or other disadvantaged kids, and that's what we're all about.
Well, I was going to ask that because a lot of times people, when they're moving or whatever, they'll find some old baseball equipment that they may not need anymore. Is there a place they can bring that real quick?
To right field, and wind helps knock it down. Thomas with the catch.
The answer, Bert, is yes, and go to the website. Thanks.
Gibson enjoys a 1-2-3-4. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Grand Casino, the best stories start here. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Just under 40,000 people here today celebrating the 4th of July at Target Field. Our Pepsi fans of the game, honoring America, celebrating its birthday and enjoying Twins baseball. Not necessarily the score so far.
Oh, and everybody be safe out there, too.
You know, we're very lucky to have this great ballpark, and I always felt bad for fans who, on this day or any other beautiful summer day, to have to go inside at the Metrodome. We saw some great baseball indoors, of course, but it was tough for fans who want to be outside on a day like today, especially on a holiday, to enjoy the fresh air. And boy, we're very grateful that we are where we are. 1-0 to Arcia. Arcia had his bat shatter in his hands. Most of the bat ended up sticking out of the ground near first base, Excalibur style. 1-1. Inside 2-1. Arcia, Morneau, and Plouffe, the 3, 4, and 5 batters facing Phelps.
Yeah, Phelps with 55 pitches. Trying to get the first out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. 33 for strikes. No walks, 1 strikeout.
Swing and a miss, 2-2. Be interested to see how long this trial goes. Arcia hitting third, how well he handles it. In the lineup with Mauer, Arcia, and Morneau hitting consecutively. You have 3 left-handed hitters in a row. Tapped up the line, and an easy play for Overbay. 1 away. And Morneau will hit next. When you join the Twins season ticket family this year, you'll be hitting the sweet spot. Purchase any of the Twins season ticket packages. Receive 10% off food, beverage, and merchandise bought at Target Field. Season ticket prices are also up to 20% cheaper than single game purchases. You can call 833-TWINS or go to twinsbaseball.com to find out more. 1 down, Justin Morneau, the batter, hit a ground ball to Cano, his first time up. To right field and hit well. This is back and gone. Second home run of the homestand for Morneau. A solo home run, and the Twins are on the board.
Well, it looked like Phelps wanted to start him off with a slow breaking ball, and Justin, a line drive home run, his 5th of the year. Makes it a 5-1 ball game.
And guys, one thing that you can see, that I can see down here, this close to him, is Justin sitting all over that curveball. The stride was curveball speed. He was not fastball speed and adjust to the breaking ball. He thought that Phelps was going to throw something soft there and just went up looking for a breaking ball. Got it in the middle of the plate and didn't miss it. That was a pretty swing.
As Bert mentioned, Morneau's 5th home run of the year.
A souvenir for that young lady. Yeah, Justin's 5 home runs have all come here at Target Field. So maybe on this road trip he'll hit some in New York, Tampa.
I can just about guarantee you he'll hit one at Yankee Stadium. Both he and Joe Mauer have done very well there over the years. 1-1 to Plouffe. 76th home run hit for the Twins this year. 75 in the first 81 games. Let's do the math together.
Let's see, that's about 150.
There you go.
How about that, huh?
2-1 to Plouffe. He's hit 8 this year. Popped up, short center. Ichiro comes in. Still some wind up there blowing from the right field pole toward the left field pole, and that kept pushing the ball back toward second base. 2 away.
But then we saw the ball that Cano hit to left field that just kept drifting. So Might be a little swirl here at Target Field.
You do get swirl in this ballpark, don't you, Bert? It's open in right field is about the only place, obviously, and then you got a little wind tunnel that goes out to that opening beyond our pregame, postgame set in left field. And as you walk around the ballpark in the stands and on the field, you can feel the wind swirling around in different directions at different spots.
I'll tell you what, that ball Justin hit, that there's no swirl that kept that ball from going out. That was a line drive home run.
That was a rocket that no wind is going to affect. You're right.
One strike to Parmalee. Bounced out to second his first time up. A little pop up behind third. Yankees actually had a shift on for Parmalee. And the left fielder Almonte comes in to make the catch. The Twins on the board on Justin Morneau's 5th home run of the year.
For the Minnesota Lottery Winners Circle, and we have $100 right here worth of scratch-off tickets courtesy of the Minnesota Lottery. They are going to Janice, Gary, and Elizabeth Thompson from Pine Island, Minnesota. Janice made the sign. Yes, that is Bert. Yes, that is the Statue of Liberty. What was the inspiration for this, Janice?
Well, we were here for opening day, and we had circle us Bert. So we always try to think of something that's
Bert, as it's called, yes.
Liberty, and I have to help my sister Deborah. She helped with it too, and we got it blown up, and we love Bert and Dick.
Well, that's enough to get you circled today and give you the lottery tickets. And also, we want to mention Gary was a member of the Air Force and is a Vietnam vet. Thank you for your service, sir. Congratulations. Bert has said he's always wondered what he would look like as a Statue of Liberty, and now he knows.
Now he knows.
I tell you what, Marty, if you could have those folks come up here, I would love to sign that right there. Dick and I would be honored to sign that.
I'll escort them up.
I wonder how populated this country would have been if that face was on the Statue of Liberty as immigrants were coming over to this great land of ours.
It'd be kind of like Wyoming.
There have been a lot of boats that would have turned around and gone back.
That was a good breaking ball.
Cano strikes out.
Yeah.
Robinson Cano has struck out.
Well, because of the sequence of pitches right there, and then the strikeout pitch, the breaking ball down. Take a look at this pitch right there.
One down in the 5th. 5 in a row set down by Gibson. He's actually gotten 6 outs from the last 5 batters. Hafner will hit with 1 out in the 5th. 63 pitches for Gibson. Laced to center, over the pitcher, over the shortstop, and very quickly into center field. Twins tickets remain available and affordable. A summer's worth of good times at Target Field. Get to the ballpark yet this summer. Check out the Steal of the Week and demand-based pricing for great deals on single game purchases all season long. Call 800-33-TWINS or go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets and get to this beautiful ballpark of ours. Vernon Wells with a pair of hits, 3 runs batted in, singles, but very productive, timely hits for the Yankee veteran. Best busted bat, and it goes 6-4-3, and Gibson on 5 pitches faces just 3 men in the 5th.
To an undisclosed location in Southwest Asia. I was born and raised in northern Minnesota, graduated from Concordia College, and have been a Twins fan all my life. I just want to say hi to my family and friends, and go Twins.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, Major, thank you.
Nice palm print, hand print in the shape of the U.S. flag. Can you imagine what it would be like to have a member of your family deployed overseas in an undisclosed location, and how that would add to the loneliness, not even knowing where your loved one is, what part of the world. Aaron Hicks will lead off the 5th for the Twins, trying to overcome an early 5-0 deficit. Hicks with a bouncer to second, his first time up. Hicks, Thomas, and Florimone, the 7, 8, and 9 batters facing Phelps. And Hicks shows bunt, takes a strike.
I think Phelps has done a good job of changing speeds. He left one pitch up, that breaking ball that Justin hit for the home run. Other than that, he's mixing in the fastball, working both sides of the plate, doing a good job of changing speeds. 65 pitches, 41 for strikes.
Behind third and a foul ball.
He's been very good at that, Bert. From my little spot here, he's throwing fastballs, as you mentioned, on both sides of the plate. The ball's into left-handers. A couple of them have even looked like he had a little cut action on them, and then he's thrown a slider, and then a slower curve. He's thrown them all, and thrown a lot of all of those. And you're right. The main reason for his success today, that back and forth change of speeds.
Sharp ground ball knocked down by Overbay, and Hicks will get a hit. A leadoff single in the 5th. And that'll bring us to Cleat Thomas.
Overbay, very good defensive first baseman. And he dove to his right, and the ball hit sharply off the bat of Hicks. It just trickled behind him, and by the time that Overbay could react, Hicks and his speed, the pitcher's over there, Phelps covering, but that's where the pitcher becomes a first baseman. But Hicks gets an infield base hit. 5th hit for the Twins.
Thomas singled in the 3rd, and he lifts a pop-up behind 3rd, chased by Almonte and Cruz, and Almonte covering a lot of ground getting there, and Thomas has gone on 1 pitch. And that will bring up Florimon.
Well, Phelps making his 12th start. This is his 23rd major league start, 51st major league appearance. He has 9 major league wins, 9 losses.
Florimon spanked a single to right his first time up. Bert mentioned earlier the Yankees in this series have put up a lot of multi-run innings, and the Twins don't have that capability. At least we haven't seen that. So it's important to get one here or there. They got a run in the 4th. Probably should have gotten a run in the 3rd. A leadoff single here in the 5th, and still plenty of time to get back in this game.
Yeah, the only multi-run inning the Twins had was the bottom of the 1st inning in Game 1 on July 1st on Monday.
And he petted through 106 pitches in the inning, or whatever it was, 40-some. Twins might see Pettit again next weekend. Gibson is scheduled to start against Tampa Bay in St. Petersburg, and then the way the rotation is right now, he would face the Yankees again a week from Sunday at Yankee Stadium.
Always fun to pitch in New York.
At the bell to strike. Now, I asked you about that because it was Gibson's 2nd major league start, and under the premise that you remember everything about your first start, but maybe by the 2nd one you don't have the recall, but you remember a lot about your 2nd major league start at Yankee Stadium.
I kind of want to forget, but
sorry.
I lost 2-1. Horace Clark in the 5th inning hit a 2-run home run right down that. We're talking the old stadium where it was 296 down that right field line. He hooked it right into the first seat in that corner, almost like Pesky's pole in Boston, right in that first seat. And I gave up a 2-run home run. I lost 2-1. But I remember that game I lost, but also being in Yankee Stadium for the first time as a 19-year-old. Quite an honor to pitch there. I got my first major league hit there, too, against Mel Stottlemyre.
Slashed foul.
Bert, was that in that game?
That was in that game.
Wasn't 5 years later?
It was a high chopper over the mound in the center field, and Bobby Mercer almost threw me out at first. But no, you kind of remember the first couple, 2-3 starts in your career. After that, it's all a blur.
For most people.
Yeah. Roy, you probably remember your first and maybe your first week at the major league level.
I do, very, very much so.
1-2 to Florimon.
And then I remember the blur that was the rest of my career, yes.
Phelps pretty quick move to first base. They say he's got a very good move, and it looked like Hicks was kind of leaning a little bit.
He's got 3 pickoffs this year, Phelps does.
Quick feet.
And Florimon strikes out for out number 2.
Only the 2nd strikeout for Phelps.
Sanford Health injury report. Frightening play in right field. Yasiel Puig running into the fence and buckling in pain after his throw to the infield. A bruised left hip and thigh.
How many times do you see that? I mean, a player right there, going back, injuring himself, and he's hurt, but he's still alert enough to get that ball back in and then realizes, hey, I am hurt.
Hicks with a steal of 2nd.
Well, Hicks stole a base in last night's ball game. Steals his 6th base. gets in a scoring position with 2 outs for Dozier. Got a pretty good jump right there.
And Dozier taking ball 1. And a strike. A similar play happened last night to Alex Gordon of the Royals. He went back to the wall. And Jason Kipnis ended up getting it inside the park home run. Gordon went back and fell into the wall, hit the back of his head on the fence. And as of game time today, they were giving him the concussion test, hopeful that he wouldn't have suffered a concussion. But he too has a banged up hip. 1-2. Twins fell behind early 5-0. They had a great chance to put together a big inning in the third. A pair of singles started the inning, and then Dozier dropped a bunt on the edge of the grass, but it caught the edge of the grass and rolled foul. A couple pitches later, Dozier bounced into a double play, and that was all but the end of the threat. Strike 3 in the outside corner, and Hicks is left at second base. Brewed Coors Light. Roy Smalley, from where you're sitting, you might not be able to say or see east and west very good, but you can see north south pretty good.
I can see middle of the plate very well, and I can see the big ends of the Yankee bats whistling through the zone on those balls. The biggest problem for Kyle Gibson so far today, looks like he's had good stuff. He hasn't thrown a lot of pitches, but every pitch it seems like that he's throwing in the middle of the plate. The Yankees have just hammered. Just a few too many of both fastball and breaking ball right in the middle of the zone.
Lyle Overbay to lead off the 6th inning. Gibson still out there. A 3-run first, a 2-run third.
Well, good pitch count, like Roy mentioned. 65 pitches for Gibson, 46 strikes.
Last 2 innings, he's faced just 3 batters.
Yeah, 14 pitches to get 6 outs over the last couple innings.
Twins will take that kind of efficiency. Overbay, Cruz, and Gonzalez in the 6th. Breaking ball, lifted foul, and out of play. Eighth game of an 8-game homestand, and the highlight so far has been Gibson's debut and win over Kansas City. Fouled 0-2.
Throughout Gibson's career, and hopefully it's a long one with the Twins, you're going to have innings that get away from you like it did in the 1st and the 3rd inning. It's how you come back from that and at least keep your club in the game if you can.
I would say that the first inning got away from him, guys, but the 2 runs in the third inning was a little bit, let's say, not the crispest of plays out there in the field by the Twins. Ball's not hit particularly hard, a play or two not made, and the Yankees parlayed it into 2 runs, and it could be a lot closer game than it is right now.
Well, he left a couple pitches up, but remember that wild pitch when Vernon Wells was up that Joe tried to backhand that allowed Hafner to go to second, and then Wells followed with the RBI double.
And then a softly hit ball into left field that Arcia couldn't get a real good read on that fell that probably should have been caught. So that's what I'm talking about in that third inning. Just not very sharp.
Gibson got ahead of Overbay, and he's just issued his first major league walk. Time's running out to vote for the 2013 All-Stars. You have until 11 o'clock tonight. And you can help send Joe Mauer to the All-Star game as a voted-in member of the American League squad. You can vote up to 35 times at twinsbaseball.com/vote Mauer. You can vote exclusively on your home computer or mobile phone. To left field, and Arcia over leaps and can't make the play. Overbay rounding second on his way to third. He'll be held on a double by Luis Cruz.
Well, Cruz got a fastball in the third inning and lined it to left field in front of Arcia. This time hits it over Arcia's head. Not the best of route right there,
no.
Roy. He kind of went toward center and then cut back rather than just cutting straight back.
Exactly right. A catchable ball if you take the right route. Relatively, I won't say routine, but relatively makeable play there if the right route is taken.
Yeah, but that ball was hit hard.
It was scalded, yeah. and the ball had a lot more carry on it than it looked like it was going to.
Infield in, pitch down low, ball one. We were just talking yesterday about Arcia doing a better job in left field with the routes he was taking and with more experience, feeling more comfortable out there.
Well, sometimes day games, and Roy, you've been out on defense day games. Sometimes it's hard to pick up right off the bat because of the sunshine and the fans, maybe, with white shirts behind in his view.
Exactly right. A ball hit that hard, it all depends on the kind of jump that you get, where you're heading after the ball in your first 2 or 3 steps. And if you don't see it real well right off the bat, it's a lot of times, and like in that instance, it's just too late.
There's a strike on the outside corner.
If you're Gibson right here, you need a strikeout. Infield playing not all the way in. Overbay not the quickest at third base.
Brian Dunsing warming up. Squibb through the hole. Overbay scores. Cruz will be held at 6-1. Gibson saws off Gonzalez, but a hit is punched through the right side. And a run in with 2 on, nobody out here in the 6th.
You saw that off the bat of Gonzalez here on Tuesday, where he just hit that little flare down the right field line, inside out swing. And Gonzalez drives in a run, his 4th run.
Yeah, 2 times now, the 2 hits you're referring to. It looks like he's swinging to left and hitting it to right.
Well, Rick Anderson out to talk to Gibson.
A lot of hits and a lot of damage this afternoon allowed by Gibson. The leadoff walk, as we mentioned, the first he's allowed as a big leaguer. It took him 11 innings to walk his first batter,
and there it is, a leadoff walk scores.
Right.
It's one thing I always looked at too. When the runs you give up, if you walk that leadoff hitter, I tell you what, Gene Mock, your uncle Roy, he knew stats as good as anybody that about 70% of all leadoff walks throughout the season score.
Yeah, it's one of the things that he hated most. You're right,
yes.
and just for that reason.
The batter is Austin Romine, infield again about halfway in.
Well, Romine's hit a couple balls to short. See if he can do it for the 3rd time.
Ball 1. Pitch count still very modest, as you see, 77 in the game for Gibson. Dunsing inside 2-0.
You know, guys, everybody talks about how adept the Yankees are at working the pitcher and having long at bats. They really only have long at bats and work the pitcher if the pitcher allows himself to do that. If you throw the ball over the middle of the plate first, second pitch, these guys are hacking. They're not up there to take and try to get the count deep. They're just good at not swinging at balls.
Chopper to second. Charged by Dozier. He's coming home and out at the plate. What a tag by Mauer. Great play by Dozier, and Mauer dropped the tag for the out.
Yeah, Cruz tried to get that hand on the plate, and Joe Mauer quickly, when he got that relay throw from Dozier. Dozier came in, had to play that little short hop right here. See, Dozier's not all the way back. He comes charging in, has to play that little short hop on the run. Good flip. And Joe Mauer quickly putting the hand or the tag on the hand.
Close play
of Cruz.
Terrific play by Dozier there. Looks like he might have been in there, doesn't it?
No. He was out.
Oh, well, I thought he was out from here.
Good call.
I'd have called him out.
He comes out of the ball game with the Twins down 6-1, and Brian Dunsing will try to give the Twins some effective relief pitching.
Well, Dunsing's been, he has been, other than that last start against here on Monday night, where he came in and gave up 4 runs, 3 earned runs in that 10-4 loss. Dunsing making his 40th relief appearance. You know, you get a pitch an inning and a third at ERA. Never really look at the reliever's ERA as much as his effectiveness on how he does against that first batter. You know, you have a couple bad outings like Dunsing did, that ERA just jumps up because you don't pitch the innings.
Caleb Thielbar's pitched the last couple of ball games, so he's really not an option. 2 innings last night, so it's Dunsing coming in to face Suzuki. 1 strike. In the case of Dunsing, and then from the right side, Jared Burton, a little decompression time.
Well, Dunsing had a good month of June. He was just used a lot in June. You know, he had an ERA at 2.25 in the month of June, 2-0 out of the bullpen. But again, used a lot.
With another left-hander up, you know, Caleb Thielbar. Down the line and foul by about 5 feet. 2 strikes.
13 times Dunsing was used in the 26 games that the Twins played in June.
Gonzalez at second, Romine at first.
Well, Dunsing's strikeout pitch has been that good hard slider down and away. Ichiro, a slap type hitter.
Ball one. And fouled away.
There's Ichiro right there on active hits. And you add the 1,200 plus that he had in Japan, almost 3,900 hits in his career between Japan and the United States.
In a number of years, the question will be, will Ichiro be a first ballot Hall of Famer? When he came over, there weren't too many people who were sure that he was going to play this long and that he would have this kind of impact. Certainly no one would have thought that he would be Hall of Fame worthy.
I'll tell you what, remember the first year, 2001, Rookie of the Year, won the batting title, hit 350. I mean, quite an impression right off the get-go for the Seattle Mariners.
Breaking ball hammered to the gap. And that ball will get all the way to the warning track. 2 runs are going to score. Ichiro flying to third. And the inherited runners score, and it's at least a 3-run inning.
Well, Suzuki picking up his 3rd hit of the ball game. And driving in 2 more runs. So another crooked number put in by the Yankees here.
And we saw the breaking ball strike there that he hit, and this is not a second guess, guys. I said before the series, he tries to slap the ball, the fastballs the other way, so a breaking ball strike, something slower, just doesn't fool him. He's not trying to pull the ball. If you throw him something slower and breaking in the middle of the plate, he just doesn't miss that.
No.
All the runs charged to Kyle Gibson, so a total of 8 earned runs in 5 1/3 innings.
We saw the same
career
pitch.
triple. Chopped. And Plouffe fires to first and gets out number 2. Another run scores. And this run charged to Dunsing.
Sorry, Dick. I was just going to say before that play there that we saw the same pitch that Ichiro just drilled off the right field fence last night. It was a little breaking ball in the middle of the plate, and I've been watching him too long. He just doesn't miss those pitches. He'll swing at them in the dirt, but if it's a strike, because he's waiting so long trying to slap the ball to left, that just speeds up his bat, and he's pretty good on that pitch.
Base is empty for Cano, but a 4-run inning, the 3rd in this series for the Yankees.
Yeah, you put that with 3-run innings, a couple 2-run innings. They've scored in 10 innings in this 4-game series, and 9 of the 10 have been crooked numbers.
So far, and we haven't completed the 4th game, but so far the Yankees have scored 29 runs in this series. And Cano responsible for a lot of it. 1-1. Cano drove in a run today with a fly ball to the warning track back in the 1st inning, the very first run of the game. His 57th run batted in. To the left field corner and deep, but foul.
Well, he's put on a clinic offensively. He's also put on a clinic in this 4-game series defensively.
If you were to base your opinion on a 4-game series, you'd have to think he's one of the best players in the game after these 4.
Fair ball. Parmalee picks it up. Dunsing on the bag, and that closes out a bad top of the 6th inning. The Yankees had 4 more runs.
All the active and retired military people out there. You know, if it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to play this great game of baseball. Thank you very much.
The Yankees have opened up a 9-1 lead. Proposal on the scoreboard here on the 4th of July.
Did you see him shaking when he showed her the ring? Oh, was he nervous? And she said, I do.
Well, the lead keeps growing for David Phelps. He'll face Joe Mauer, Oswaldo Arcia, and Justin Morneau.
Oh, was he shaking? Wow, there's a couple right there.
You do that, you've got to be pretty confident of the answer, don't you? I mean, can you imagine the humiliation?
You know what? There was one time that they showed that, and I don't know where we were.
I think it was in Kansas City.
She left,
and I think the Royals set that up. I think that was staged. 1 strike to Mauer. Arcia and Morneau, and the Twins somehow have to climb a huge mountain here. They got 4 innings worth of at bats to try to get back into the game. 1-1.
Well, what you want to see is good quality at bats. Phelps with 3 strikeouts in a ball game, struck out Joe Mauer to end the 3rd inning in his last at bat.
Swing and a foul. You know, Mauer still an on base percentage of right around 400, and the average at 317. It's all pretty good, but this has been the streakiest first half or second half of any season that Joe has had. He's had periods of maybe a couple of weeks where you just don't think you can get him out. And then we've also seen periods of a couple of weeks where the strikeouts have been far more numerous than normal. And, you know, weak ground balls to second. I don't know that Joe even knows why it is, but it has been a very streaky season for him so far. Ordinarily, he's been, you know, a model of consistency. And he's called out for the 2nd time in the game.
And Joe thinking that ball's outside. And Hitchcock behind the plate. Outside.
Coming up later this month, the Midsummer Classic returns to New York with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. The 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star Game live from New York, July 16th, only on Fox. Marcia, the batter. And a strike. Not even you would have begged for that pitch to be called a strike, would you?
No, it was close. You know what Phelps is doing, though? He's hitting the glove. And I'm not saying that, that should be called just because he's hitting the glove. I mean, put the glove in their dugout then, But when your catcher's sitting inside and the ball's inside, you might get an inch or two.
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't, but umpires are no different than, they're going to call what, sitting pretty much right down the middle of the plate. And Arcia fouls it off.
Into the seats. Saw Josh Willingham today walk into the clubhouse with the wrap on his left knee, and I told him, I said, you're limping less now than you did before your knee surgery. He says, that's about right. I don't think people really appreciate how troublesome that knee was, simply because Josh wanted to play and he wanted to play through it, but now the knee's been taken care of, and he's had 2 operations, 2 arthroscopic surgeries on his left knee, 1 on the right. And he said of the 3 knee surgeries he's had, this one feels the best most immediately after the surgery. So to the extent that some encouragement for Josh Willingham and the Twins, there it is. 3-2 to Arcia. In Willingham's absence, Arcia will get plenty of time in left field and perhaps more time in the 3-hole. Change-up strikes him out. 2 down.
And the last 4 outs have been because of strikeouts. Phelps now with 5 strikeouts.
There's the one vulnerability, or I should say that one of 2 vulnerabilities for Arcia. And as he matures and progresses as a hitter, he will, I think, fix both of those things. Curveball down in the zone, underneath the zone when he's looking fastball. There's a 3-2 count. Really thinks he's going to get a fastball that he can drive, and he got a little bit anxious and swung over the top of a low breaking ball. That's one of his vulnerabilities. The other one is laying off high fastballs, and he's doing a much better job of that lately. I think that's why we're seeing him in a pretty good hot streak right now.
Morneau off the end of the bat, foul.
Hey, Roy, I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but over to about the first 4 innings, 4+ innings, Phelps was throwing a lot of off-speed stuff. Now he's got 4 straight strikeouts, but he's mixing in that fastball more.
Yeah, he's still throwing. We haven't seen any loss in velocity, and he's got just on the back foot.
He'll take first base and get Plouffe to the plate.
Bert, you talk about it all the time. Everything just kind of moves off the fastball, and it just is true. And from a hitter's standpoint, if a pitcher impresses you that he can throw a fastball for a strike outside the middle of the plate when he wants to, you have to start protecting against that, and then it opens up for the pitcher. It opens up other pitches and other sides of the plate, and Phelps has done a good job of that.
I'm telling you, when umpires sit over the inside between the hitter and the catcher, in time they will give you more away than they will in.
Boy, I just think that's a great point, Bert. I've always maintained that it's more guess than knowledge on pitches on the outside part of the plate when they sit over the inside. I just don't see how it's possible to have a really great look at that outside corner.
No, I mean right here he sees. I didn't mean to do that, and I didn't tell the crew, but look where he's sitting. He's sitting on the inner half of the plate.
His eyes are right over the inside corner.
I'm gonna show you. He's gonna see that right there. Okay, that part right there. He's not that he's guessing, but he might give you an inch or two if you hit that glove consistently down and away.
That's to right. It's hanging in the air. Wells coming in, makes a running catch. The inning ends.
That's why Maddox and Glavine are going to be Hall of Famers, because they could hit that spot and they made that plate expand.
story of the game. Almost all Yankees here today.
Gibson let some pitches up in that first inning, and the Yankees didn't miss them. 3 runs put on the board. Vernon Wells driving in a couple with a RBI or 2-run single. 3-0 lead for the Twins. Justin Morneau, the only highlight in the 4th inning, got a breaking ball from Phelps and made it a 5-1 ball game. But in the 6th inning, another crooked inning for the Yankees. 4 runs, highlighted by Ishiro's 2-run triple.
And Travis Hafner will lead off against Brian Dunsing here in the 7th. Driven hard to left center field. There's nobody there. Twins were shifting him the other way. And retrieving the ball is Arcia, and Hafner on the first pitch drives a double to left center field.
Second double of the ball game for Hafner, his 3rd hit.
Dunsing's come in and faced 4 men, and he's given up 2 extra base hits.
Well, you see the shift right there, and Hafner, who got his double down the left field line earlier in the ball game, hits it to left center.
Vernon Wells will come to the plate. He's driven in 3 with a pair of singles. He's also bounced into a double play. Pulled foul. He goes after the first pitch.
Always seems to be that comfort zone when the Twins play the Yankees, that these hitters just come up and they just lock and load. I guess I'm talking about the fear factor. And I'm not saying, you know, to hit anybody, but to push some guys off the plate.
Breaking ball inside. Well, there is certainly a disproportionate level of confidence between these 2 teams. I don't, you know, if the Twins were leading 9-1 at this point, I'm not so sure the Yankees wouldn't be convinced they were going to come back and win.
Well, that man, since he's become manager of the Twins, Ron Gardenhire, has not had a lot of success against the Yankees. Last time the Yankees swept a 4-game series here in Minnesota, you have to go back to 2003.
Outside, 2-2.
That was Gardy's 2nd year. The Yankees have swept the Twins in 7 games that year. 4 of them coming here.
Josh Renicky warming up. Foul, hit hard, but very foul. And Mauer going to the mound. Twins have done everything to protect the bullpen, the relievers that were relied on to protect leads late in the game, the Dunsings and Burtons of the world. I mean, they're carrying 13 pitchers. You've got 8 relief pitchers on the team, and it's certainly not ideal, but the starters generally have been going a little bit longer in the game than they were in April and May. But for some reason, as June has turned into July, some of the relievers are really struggling, including Dunsing, who strikes out Wells.
That's a better breaking ball right there underneath that swing of Wells. So Dunsing picking up his first strikeout. Good angle, straight down.
Lyle Overbay, the batter, 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Around the hand. Now, pitches like that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just keep them honest. You know, Overbay, first 3 at-bats, basically coming out, swinging. And Dunsing going inside. Good hard fastball. But you have to control the outer half of the plate too with the fastball. That's a breaking ball. An overbase swung through it. I learned that from Don Drysdale at 19 years old. I was with we were in Anaheim, and I had a chance to sit down with Don Drysdale about the effectiveness of a fastball in, and sometimes repeating. But he also said you have to control the outer half of the plate with your fastball.
Foul back.
Like that. That's a good pitch right there. Maybe a little cutter, slider, but outer half of the plate. Every at-bat at the major league level or any level is always an adventure. How you try to get that hitter out, that one hitter, and this being Overbay for Brian Dunsing.
One and two. Very high.
Got underneath that ball. You could see it. He just lead with the palm of his hand rather than getting on top of that fastball.
Trying to pitch around a leadoff double. The Yankees have already scored 9 runs today.
Yeah, the book on Kyle Gibson, 5 1/3 innings, 11 hits, 8 runs all earned with a walk and a couple strikeouts. And Dunsing picking up his second straight strikeout.
Two innings for Caleb Thielbar last night. Probably won't be used today in our Firestone Extra Mile Index. 16 consecutive scoreless appearances to start his career. 7th in Major League history.
Yeah, that's covering 18 2/3 innings. He's allowed only 5 hits. 7 walks, 1 intentional with 17 strikeouts. Caleb Thielbar left a nice impression.
Casey Fiend, who also probably will get the day off. Cruz, the batter, he's had a good day at the plate. An RBI single in the 3rd. And a double in the 6th.
And that challenge starts all over again for Dunsing. He was able to strike out Overbay. Now it's a new hitter, a right-handed hitter. How do you get Cruz out here with Hafner at second and 2 outs?
One and one. Way outside.
Yeah, change up right there, missing down and away. Cruz looking for something probably he can pull right here. This is again, you have to control the outer half of the plate. See Cruz with that open stance. Good pitch.
Behind first, chased by Parmalee. And Parmalee.
He held on to it.
Over the wall. Did he keep the catch? He's got it. Chris Parmalee with a great catch to end the inning. What a catch by Parmalee. And Parmalee ends the inning with a great catch. And now members of the Minnesota Corral will give us a special treat on this very special holiday. God bless America.
Please rise and welcome members of the Minnesota Corral as they lead us in the singing of God Bless America.
is presented by McDonald's. Right now, you can get 20 crispy chicken McNuggets for just $4.99 at McDonald's. And by Toyota. Let's go places. To find the nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com.
And how many times does it happen? A guy makes a great catch and he leads off the next inning.
In the history of baseball?
Oh, look at look at the concentration. Got the glove, the ball in the glove, and then took a tumble into the crowd.
That's a great catch.
Yeah, great concentration.
No fun getting your teeth kicked in by the Yankees again, but you keep playing the entire game.
Playing the game, you're right.
Parmalee, Hicks, and Thomas in the home half of the 7th inning. Again, the Yankees putting a shift on for Parmalee, and I don't remember other teams doing this for Parmalee. An infield shift with the shortstop swung over on the right side of the infield.
Well, a lot depends on who's on the mound, too. You know, Phelps, not an overpowering fastball. He does have 5 strikeouts, but a lot of breaking balls, off-speed pitches. So maybe that's why the shift is put on.
Now we saw Cruz move back over to a more conventional spot with the count going to 2 strikes. And Parmalee hits it over the shortstop's head for a base hit.
Yeah, fastball inside. Parmalee fought it off.
Rounding the bag hard. Good to see Parmalee continue to play hard here in the 7th inning with the 2013 season halfway through. Good time to get a group together and come out to the ballpark. Organize your business, church, school, just to get together with a bunch of friends, acquaintances. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com. Check out the options and learn about the cool benefits that group organizers receive for pulling it all together. Hicks with a base hit. Stole a base his last time up. Mentioned that the Twins in the second half want to see improvement from Parmalee and Dozier. I don't suppose there's anybody they want to see more improvement from than the guy in the batter's box. This guy is central to the Twins' rebuilding phase, and they would like nothing better than to see Aaron Hicks, in the second half of the year, hit 280, 8 more home runs, eventually take over the leadoff spot, just so next year they don't have to worry about it. You know, they've got their center fielder for a while. Now, all that said, Byron Buxton's off to a great start in high A ball. He's played 7 games for Fort Myers, and he's hitting .400 for them. So you can imagine down the road, way down the road, an outfield that might consist of Hicks, Buxton, and Arcia in any of the spots you want to put them in. Hicks or Buxton would be the center fielder. Foul, now to play. But first things first, Hicks needs to prove that he can perform up here.
I think defensively we've seen he can cover a lot of ground, and he's got a great arm. He's got very good defensive player. It's a matter of can he hit at the major league level. I think Arcia's shown that he can hit at the major league level. Ken Hicks.
And maybe the question mark surrounding Arcia is his defense, just the opposite of Hicks's game right now. But again, the second half critically important for both young outfielders and the bulk of this Twins roster. 2-2. Foul away.
Well, 100 pitches now for David Phelps. Good strike to ball ratio, 67 strikes. No walks in the ball game, 5 strikeouts.
Up and away. Full count. And Cleat Thomas on deck. Hicks with a smash over the shortstop's reach. his second hit of the ball game. A good at bat for Aaron Hicks.
Yeah, it looked like a changeup that got left up right there, and Hicks just went with it. Cruz leaped for it at just over his glove. Parmalee stopping at second base.
You know, that's part of the improvement the Twins want to see, though. If a guy's going to paint the corner on you, it's going to be tough for anybody to hit consistently. But if they make a mistake, if they leave a pitch up, jump on it, do something with it.
Well, what you got to like about that, and I know Tom Bernansky has to like about that, he didn't try to pull that ball.
Right.
The ball was outer half, went right back up the middle, and got rewarded with that base hit.
The Yankee clipboard has sprung a bunch of pages free down by the Yankee dugout, so bat boy, ball boy will retrieve those, and now Thomas will hit with 2 men aboard in the 7th. Wild game going in Kansas City. James Shields gave up 5 early runs, and the Indians tied it. Then the Indians took a 7-5 lead. Now the Royals have tied it up again at 7. One strike to Thomas. And a ball. One of the few starts for Thomas where he hasn't been in the leadoff spot. Ron Gardenhire had the option as he picked his 9 players to hit today. He could have put Thomas in the leadoff spot or Dozier, but he slid Thomas down to 8th and put Dozier in the leadoff spot. And one would think with a few more 2-hit games, Hicks might get some consideration there as well. 2-1. Chamberlain, Boone, Logan warming up. Outside 3-1. Phelps might be running on fumes here in the 7th inning.
106 pitches right now, the most he's thrown in a ball game, 115. Remember, he came off that short outing in his last start where he threw 61 pitches in 2 2/3 innings and gave up those 9 runs to the Orioles.
To right center field toward the gap, and Ichiro makes the catch. Front runner will tag. Parmalee advances to third base. 1 away, and that'll bring up Florimon.
Come on, Petey.
That's what one thing that impressed me last night's game. CC Sabathia won his 200th major league game. He went out for the 7th inning and he had 104 pitches. They let him go out for the 7th as they are here with Phelps. Don't look around your shoulder even though there's guys warming up. And Sabathia last night, he was the 114th major league pitcher to ever win 200 ball games or more. So as we said last night, congratulations. Just not congratulations that he beat the Twins, but on a good career.
That's a milestone. That's a remarkable milestone. And if he stays healthy, I can imagine him getting another 100 wins.
If he stays with the Yankees, yes.
1-1. Hicks dives back, stole a base in the 5th. And now 2-1. Twins get the Yankees again at the end of the next road trip. In the 60s, it was one or the other. America, love it or leave it. The Twins are doing both today. They're honoring America today. Then they're leaving it. Twins get on a plane, go to Toronto after the game. And Florimone drives one to right field, down for a hit. His second hit. A base hit scoring Parmelee, and it's 9-2.
Well, he got the count in his favor. Worked it 2-1. And Joe Girardi coming out to take his starter out of the ball game. But the second hit by Florimone driving in his 25th run.
Both starters go through the opponent lineup 3 times. The difference is Phelps comes out in the 7th and Gibson came out in the 6th, and it's a lopsided 9-2 score with the Twins threatening.
America returns as Justin Upton, and the Braves head to Philadelphia, take on Ryan Howard and the Phillies. Baseball Night in America begins Saturday at 5:30 p.m. Central, starting on MLB All-Star Game Selection Show. Starting with the MLB selection. Well, Jubba Chamberlain coming into the ball game. Chamberlain worked here a couple nights ago. Actually here on Monday night, threw 1 shutout inning, worked the 7th inning, threw 11 pitches, 5 for strikes.
I think you know my feeling about New York. I'm generally not fond of the city. I don't like the Yankees beating the Twins all the time. I'm suspicious of pretty much everything they do. I don't think Boone Logan is actually on this team. They have 1 left-handed reliever listed on their lineup. We're late in the 4th game. We haven't seen him yet. Now that he's going to have Logan on the back. No, they don't put the numbers or the names on the backs of their jerseys. I don't think that's him. I think he's actually a right-hander. We'll never see him in this series. Dozier the batter. Down low, ball 1. Be just like the Yankees to do that too. Put a decoy on their lineup.
Well, what you might have is Chamberlain coming in, getting 1 out, and then bringing in Logan.
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
I don't think so. I don't think he's actually on the team. 1-0 to Dozier. 2-0.
Chamberlain, who can throw hard, but also has 10 walks in 20 1/3 innings pitched, along with 22 strikeouts. Chamberlain in his 7th season with the Yankees. Missed about 3 weeks in May. Strained right side.
And a strike, 2-1. Beautiful day, great crowd, and so many of the fans still here. very high and inside. 3-1, Mauer on deck.
Yeah, attendance here 38,260. Last night was the third sellout. Tonight, the fourth sellout here at Target Field in 2013.
Should move the Twins into 6th place in the American League in attendance. Breaking pitch over. I think the fan support this year has been tremendous. The last couple of years have been very tough on the fan base, and fans been very disappointed, understandably, with the product on the field.
Yeah, that needs to improve.
Full count, and Dozier with a base hit to center. Florimon will be waved around, and 2 straight hits. 4th hit of the inning. And Mauer comes up with runners on the corners. And here comes Joe Girardi to perhaps bring Boone Logan into the game.
Hey, brought in Chamberlain to get the right-hander. Nat Dozier, he left a 3-2 breaking ball up. And Dozier picking up an RBI, his 29th of the year. It's a 9-3 ball game.
Finally, in the 4th game of this series, we see the lone Yankee left-handed reliever.
And this copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins.
There he is, Boone Logan.
Well, the only lefty out there making his 35th appearance. See, left-handers actually hitting better than right-handers. Opponents hitting off Logan 259 overall. Left-handers hitting 271, righties 242.
Mauer at the plate, a single and 2 called third strikes. Outside ball 1.
Logan with a good fastball, sharp slider, and a changeup in his 4th season with the Yankees.
As the month unfolds, I'll give you an even money bet that the Yankees add another left-hander to their bullpen. When you have only one, you've got to pick your spots when to use them, and that's why he hasn't pitched in the first 3 games here. Inside 2-0. Twins trying to put together a Yankee-like crooked number. A 3, a 4, or a 5 here in the 7th. See if they can get back into this game. That's to left. Almonte almost misjudged it and overran it. It'll be a sacrifice fly, but a second out. It's a 3-run inning. Florimon tags from third.
Yeah, Twins finally put another crooked number on the board. Mauer picking up his 29th RBI.
And a tough ball game for Arcia. 0 for 3 against a right-hander. Now he'll take his swings against a lefty. Arcia came into the game hitting .291 against righties and encouragingly .286 against lefties. Breaking ball, strike one.
We saw him kind of back away of that breaking ball. He's never seen Logan. You can watch him warm up, but he kind of just took that and said, okay, that's how that slider breaks.
Swung at the second one, 0-2.
Yeah, pretty good location right there by Logan. Logan 32 strikeouts in 22 innings pitched.
Oh, 2. Came inside with a fastball, and Arcia flipped it foul. Another 0-2 pitch. Twins with 4 singles and so far 3 runs in the inning. But still down by 5.
If you know Logan now, you have a choice. You can go back in with another fastball, or you can go to that slider down and away. And he went with another fastball up in the zone.
Fox Tracks had it a strike. Home plate umpire Ed Hickok said no. Waited on the breaking ball and spun it into center field. Left fielder Almonte makes the catch. 3 runs for the Twins in the 7th. Story on the rebuilding that continues around Moore, Oklahoma, following the devastating tornado in May, and how youth softball and baseball have given families in that area a slice of normalcy and hope. Coming up later on Twins Live, Ron Gardenhire talked about his friends and neighbors in Oklahoma and the tragedy that they've endured.
But we've seen a lot of tornadoes and we've seen a lot of things happen. But the one thing that we've always said there in Oklahoma is that, when you're in need, your friends, your family, your neighbors are going to be there for you. And that was evident in watching all the newscasts and everything, how everybody was helping each other out. It's a cool thing that the nation, which is not unusual, to step up and, give all the love and support to those people there in Oklahoma.
From Okmulgee, Oklahoma, where he grew up. And the Twins will pitch to the Yankees here. It'll be right-hander Josh Renicky pitching to Alberto Gonzalez.
Yeah, Renicky making his 34th relief appearance. He worked here on Monday night, just 1/3 of an inning.
Renicky will face Gonzalez, Romine, and Suzuki. And a strike over the inside corner. Have you ever seen a funnel cloud, a tornado?
No, I have not, and I never want to.
I don't either, and I asked Gardy that when the tragedy hit weeks ago, and he said, oh, it was a common occurrence growing up in Oklahoma. There's a reason that's called Tornado Alley up in that part of the country, down in that part of the country. And he says, oh, it was a semi-regular occurrence. We saw funnel clouds all the time growing up. Tap to the right side, and Renicky will make a tag for the first out. Today, as we celebrate independence and the continued pursuit of happiness, you can still help those seeking assistance after natural disasters by going to redcross.org or calling 800-RED-CROSS. One down in the Yankee eighth. That'll bring up Austin Romine.
Down in Florida you have the hurricanes, but you kind of have a warning that they're maybe headed your way, where a funnel cloud or tornado, my goodness, watch out. You don't know.
Well, we've had some, of course, tragedies in the upper Midwest here too with tornadoes, but I'm with you. I have not seen one yet, and I'd prefer to live out the rest of my life without having to deal with one. One strike to Romine. Two strikes. And the Twins want Renicky to do what he's done here this afternoon. Throw more strikes. 6 pitches, 5 of them over the plate.
Yeah, too many walks for Renicky. That's been his biggest problem. It's just not throwing enough strikes.
Fouled away.
Renicky came into the ball game 19 walks in 35 innings pitched. Now 2 intentional, but still averaging 4 or 5 walks on a 9-inning basis. That's too many.
Adam Dunn's hit a walk-off home run for the White Sox. They beat Baltimore 3-2. That's good news for the Yankees. Baltimore, one of the 2 teams the Yankees are still chasing. Flipped foul again into the seats. So if the Yankees win here today, and the Orioles have already lost, there'd be just a 1.5-game separation between Baltimore and New York. Twins will get the bottom 3 teams in the East on the road trip starting tomorrow night against Toronto.
Yeah, Boston playing very good baseball.
Be good to see our old friend Mark Burley tomorrow. Thought we'd seen the last of him when he signed with Florida, but they, of course, dealt Burley in half of last year's roster to Toronto. So the Twins will see Mark Burley, former Twin R.A. Dickey. And the Blue Jays haven't designated yet who's going to start Sunday in the series finale against Scott Diamond. Sharply hit, couple of hops to Florimo. 2 down. Here's our CenturyLink link to what's next. And most of us are going to Toronto. It'll be Kevin Correa against Mark Burley. Mike Pelfrey returning to the active roster against R.A. Dickey. Should win Sunday's game because the Blue Jays don't have a pitcher. You're not going to be there.
No, I will not. I'll meet you in Tampa.
Now, I asked you this the other day, and I just want to make sure for our new viewers here. There's no legal reason why you are not going to Canada.
No. Actually, after the Hall of Fame weekend in late July, my wife Gail and I are going to Niagara Falls for the first time.
Okay, you have an active passport.
We're going to go to the Canadian side. We were told that's the best side to see the falls. So, yes, I do have a passport.
Okay.
So does my wife, so it should be all right.
Ichiro Suzuki with 2 strikes. Ron Coomer will be filling in for you in Toronto and New York.
Suzuki with a double, a single, and then the triple in the 6th inning.
And a wild swing, strike 3, a good inning for Renicky, and a 1-2-3.
With that swing, how can he get hits?
On Fox Sports North is presented by Subway. I'm Marnie Gellner, and after every game here, we break down the ups and the downs for the Twins, and that will be no different today as we bring you Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. Today, we will look at Kyle Gibson in his 2nd Major League start, which was far different than his first. What went well? What didn't go so well for Gibson? Plus, a very special segment on Americans helping Americans down in Oklahoma after the Moore, Oklahoma tornadoes, how the baseball community helped out. And we'll hear from Okmulgee, Oklahoma native Ron Gardenhire, as we always do in our post-game coverage. Dick and Bert.
Well, thank you, Marnie. Justin Morneau will face Boone Logan to lead off the 8th inning. It'll be Morneau, Plouffe, and Parmelee. Morneau with a home run. He was hit by a pitch in his left big toe for the 2nd game in a row. That was in the 6th inning. 1-0. Swing and a miss. 1-1. Probably no more question marks regarding the second half on anyone more than Justin Morneau. 2-1.
Oh, Justin, a free agent at the end of the year. That's a question right there. Will they bring him back? Does he want to come back?
Swing and a miss. I think he does for many professional and personal reasons. But that wouldn't preclude the Twins from trading him this year or doing what they did with Rick Aguilera, twice trade him, then re-sign him. Twins could do that too. Two and two. Driven to deep right field. Two tonight off the facing of the upper deck. An 8-game homestand, and Morneau's hit 3 home runs, 2 of them today.
On another breaking ball, Logan left that baby right in Morneau's eyes, and boy, did he crush it. The first one didn't take long to get out, and neither did this one.
And significantly, 2 of the 3 home runs have been against left-handed pitching.
You got Collins in that Kansas City series, the left-hander. And here Logan left him a breaking ball.
Still plenty of work to do, but now it's 9-5. Twins had a bad game 2 nights ago, but eventually kept after it and forced a save situation and got Mariano Rivera into the game. Now that's not going to be an option for the Yankees today because Rivera's pitched in all 3 games of this series. Plouffe sharply up the middle, of base hit. And that'll bring up Parmalee. Still nobody out.
Well, Trevor with his first hit got a fastball, hit it right back up the middle.
Parmalee's hit a couple of solo home runs against left-handed pitchers this year, but those are his only 2 runs batted in against lefties, hitting 195 against them. Parmalee and then the switch hitting Hicks. It's still unlikely the Twins are going to come back and win this game, but some consolation should be made of the fact that Chris Parmalee in the top of the 7th inning dove into the crowd to get a 3rd out that ended the top of the 7th inning. And then the Twins put together 4 hits, scored 3 runs in the 7th, and now a quick start here in the bottom of the 8th. You don't like giving up 9 runs, but the manager's pretty happy that the teams continue to play hard here. Checked his swing. 2-1. Yankees had a 9-1 lead. It's 9-5. Fouled away, 2-2.
Everything hard. Fastball 93 to 95. The hard slider in the upper 80s from Boone Logan. Three usually means slider.
And Parmalee takes it in the dirt. 3-2. Logan finally gets into a game, but the Twins have handled him pretty well so far. Maurer with a sacrifice fly. Morneau with a home run. Plouffe with a single, and now a full count to Parmalee. Pulled foul. trying to crawl out of a big hole. To put together a good 8th inning here. Another 3-2 pitch. Fouled back. Parmalee spun that fastball right back to the screen. Straight back.
Yeah, first 3-2 slider that he fouled down that first baseline. Then the fastball fouled straight back.
Parmalee battling Logan. Another foul. Parmalee's been paying attention. As frustrated as it's been for him, he's had a tough time, driving mid-90s fastball, low 90s fastball. He's had a tough time handling that pitch. And here he's fouled off a couple of them, hoping to click on one. And he fouls off another one. It's a very respectable fastball in the mid-90s, and Parmalee's fighting them off.
Yeah, 9 pitches in this at bat so far.
He'll continue to get those fastballs until he drives one hard someplace, a number of them. Logan reloads. And Parmalee with a very impressive walk. Finally taking ball 4. And a lot of people in the ballpark are going, maybe something's happening here. Another pitching change for the Yankees. Nobody out. Twins have the tying run on deck with nobody out in the 8th. Three of them in this homestand.
Yeah, 2-run home run off of Tim Collins. That coming on Sunday when the Twins a 9-8 loss. And here today, Justin, a solo home run. That put the Twins on a board in the 4th inning. And then we just witnessed another home run by Justin Morneau.
And suddenly a very big at bat here for Aaron Hicks. Morneau with 3 home runs in this homestand. And as you said before, all of his 6 home runs now have come at Target Field, where he's had a tough time hitting home runs.
Well, yeah, Sean Kelly coming into the ball game. He worked here on Monday night, 1 inning. Did not allow any runs, making his 31st relief appearance.
Hicks takes strike 1. So as you're imagining a highly improbable Twins comeback, acknowledge that Mariano Rivera almost certainly won't be used by the Yankees today. And now they've used their only left-handed reliever, and they still got 6 outs to get. One strike to Hicks. And a ball.
Kelly in his first season with the Yankees, coming over in a trade from the Seattle Mariners.
On the outside corner, 1-2.
Yeah, staying with the breaking ball. Showed you the numbers on Kelly. 45 strikeouts in 31 innings pitched.
Hicks struck out a couple of times last night, but today 2 singles and a run scored. Up and away, 2-2. Hicks trying to get aboard and get Thomas to the plate, representing the tying run. Fouled away into the seats. Hicks's 2 singles, both coming from the left side of the plate, where he's had a tougher time this year. Got him. Change speed, got a swinging strikeout, 1 away. That'll bring up Thomas. Get ready for Fox Sports 1, America's new 24-hour sports network. Fox Sports 1 will be your home for great live sports. All the news and highlights you want, shows and specials that only Fox can bring you. America's new sports network is Fox Sports 1, coming August 17th.
Until Aaron Hicks learns to hit that breaking ball, he's going to continue to struggle up here as a left-handed hitter. Saw it in this series. It's only 3 games since he's been called up, but the opposing team throw him a lot of breaking balls in situations like this.
Thomas takes a strike on the outside corner. Twins trying to get some big hits from the bottom third of their lineup. Hicks has just struck out, and now Thomas 1 for 3 on the day. Strike 2. Kelly painting the corner. Off the plate, 1-2. Away again. Two and two. Yankees have seen the Twins, specifically Morneau, pull a couple of home runs. Kelly with 2 men on base trying to keep the ball away from Thomas until now. Got him. You could see the catcher Romine set up inside, and Thomas is called out on strikes, 2 down.
That's almost the same pitch that Hicks swung through. This one Thomas takes.
Four pitches away. The first 2 looked like they were off the plate. And now Ryan Doman is going to hit for Pedro Florimon. Twins so far in the run column have just Morneau's home run. But then a single and a walk came right after that. And Doman asked to deliver a 2-out hit to get the Twins a little closer.
Ryan Doman as a pinch hitter, 0 for 8 so far, and as a left-handed hitter, 7 of his 8 home runs coming from the left side of the plate.
Twins haven't done much in the pinch hitting department. 8 hits, 51 at bats, a home run, that by Arcia. 5 runs batted in. But a big spot here is the Twins trying to get more than 1 out of this 8th inning rally. Up and away, ball 1. Off speed over for a strike, 1-1. Chop to the right side. Easy 3 hopper for Cano. The Twins get a leadoff home run, leave 2 on base. Great job by Kelly. The Twins are still down by 4. Our AT&T Twitter poll, we asked you which player is a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer. And again, most of you picking Mariano Rivera, when in reality I think all 3 will get in the first ballot. Maddox is not just the 300+ wins, it's all the Gold Gloves. For Jeter, 3,000 hits, the postseason excellence.
And there hadn't been a better reliever in baseball than that man right there, Rivera. Well, here's an important outing for Jared Burton. You know, the Twins are down by 4 runs, but, you know, he has struggled really over the last month. So he needs a good 1-2-3 inning, just like Renicky did in the 8th. Eduardo Escobar taking over at shortstop for Florimon, who was pinched hit by Ryan Domet.
Zoilo Almonte will lead off the 9th. And a strike.
I think that's the pitch right there that Jarrett has to go back to. More of the fastball. He's got a great changeup, but sometimes he throws it almost too much. You know, he's got to control that fastball to get ahead. Puts that hitter on the defense for that changeup. And there's 2 straight fastballs. So maybe that's what they're talking about. You know, hey, trust your fastball, your location of your fastball. Get ahead. Then you can mix in the slider and the changeup.
There's a reason they call those pitches secondary pitches. You still have to establish your fastball, whether you're a 1-inning pitcher or a 9-inning pitcher. Hicks glides to his right, makes the catch, 1 away.
And 3 straight fastballs, so maybe that's what he's coming out here for to do, is stretch it out. Trust that fastball. Even though Almonte hit that ball sharply, but there's your defense behind you. Hicks makes a nice catch.
You know what we've seen, and as you said, going back to about a month ago in Kansas City, what we've seen is The Twins have had some leads late, and they've lost those leads, which, that's not how it's supposed to work. You set up a system. Every team does it. You set up a system. The Yankees have Robertson and then Rivera in the 8th and 9th inning, and it would be just like Robertson struggling in his ability to set up Rivera. If the 8th inning guy doesn't do his job, the 9th inning guy can't do his. So things go kaflooey, and that's kind of been the story here for the last 4 weeks for the Twins. Too many games have slipped through their fingers at the end. And then we've talked about it before. If the 8th or 9th inning guys don't do their job,
there you go. Another fastball. He gets the ground ball out.
Cano thrown out. If the 8th or 9th inning guys don't do their job, for some reason it impacts the guys who pitch innings 6 and 7. It's almost like a virus that goes through a bullpen sometimes.
Well, sometimes you see guys that fall in love with a pitch, and it's not their main. He fell in love with his changeup. I think we all have seen that. He's got a great changeup, but everything keys off of that fastball. I don't care if you throw 84 or 94.
And then it's a difference too if you miss with the fastball and the count's 2-0 instead of 0-2. The changeup, as good as it is, still isn't going to be as effective. Hitters swing differently when the count's 2-0 than they do when it's 0-2. And he misses there, ball 1.
That's a changeup right there. He tried the changeup and missed away. Now you have to trust that you can throw that fastball down and away to Hafner to get the count back to even.
Missed with it. You can see 94 miles per hour. There's plenty of fastball there if you can pinpoint it. And a generous outside corner called there, 2-1.
On another fastball. Hafner doesn't like it, but he's got 3 hits already. Yankees with 13 hits. Cano doesn't have any. How about that? Does have an RBI in the first inning. There's another good pitch. Another fastball down.
After goes for a little stroll. 2 down here in the 9th.
Now you might see the changeup right here. After a couple fastballs, the same arm action. Pull the string. And here it comes.
Fouled off the roof of the Twins dugout.
But Hafner way out front as you saw him, hit that ball over the Twins dugout. Adding and subtracting. The adding, basically the fastball. And another fastball. Keep it down. Oh, good pitch.
Taken on a close pitch. 3-2.
What does Fox Track say? Caught the corner.
I'll give you that one. 3-2.
I don't want it. Burton wants it.
It's not going to impact your ERA, is it? Swing and a miss. A good inning.
There's a good changeup. Well, that was a fastball. Excuse me.
And Burton rebounds with a nice 9th inning.
Good outing.
9-5. A lot of work to do in the 9th inning, but the Twins at one point were down 9-1. So we'll see if they can put together the greatest comeback in Target Field history against David Robertson.
Robertson making his 3rd appearance in this 4-game series. So far, 2 shutout innings. And in those 2 shutout innings, he's picked up 4 strikeouts, making his 37th appearance overall.
Mariano Rivera unavailable today because he's pitched in the last 3 ball games. Next year he'll be unavailable because he'll be retired, and this might be the route that the Yankees go, just shifting their 8th inning guy into the 9th inning guy, which is how Rivera got the job in the first place.
Yeah, he was kind of the 8th inning guy for John Wetland for a year, and then they said, okay, it's yours, and boy did he run with it.
Dozier, Mauer, and Arcia trying to get the bases clogged and see if somebody can pull one out of here. Dozier singled in a run his last time up. Strike 1. Kansas City beat Cleveland 10-7. Luke Hochevar out of the pen got the win for the Royals.
You know, not a safe situation for Robertson, but I thought Sean Kelly came in and shut the door. You know, the Twins were rallying back.
Wells has to wait a long time for this pop-up to come down. 1 away.
You know what I mean? I mean, against Boone Logan, Twins, you know, got a home run for Morneau, and then they put a couple runners on, and then Sean Kelly came in and basically with a couple strikeouts shut the door.
1 down, Mauer, the hitter. A single, a couple of called 3rd strikes, a sacrifice fly. I don't know that anywhere in the Twins stat line the ineffective first half shows up more than Mauer's RBI line. He came into the second half of the year with 28 runs batted in. You double that. That's, go ahead, do it for me.
That's 56. That's not enough.
That's not enough. But yet the guys hit over 300 almost throughout the first half, an on-base percentage of over 400. He just hasn't had guys on base.
Yeah, because you look at the number 8, 9, and 1 hitters for the Twins in that first half. I mean, they might have combined hitting 220.
Yeah. 1-1. That's to the left field corner, chased by Almonte and into the seats. I mean, we've shown you graphics. Mauer with men in scoring position, less than 2 outs. He's done fine. But if there's nobody on base, as there isn't here in the 9th inning, it's hard to drive in runs
when there's nobody on base. It's really hard.
Yeah.
Think about it. It's really hard.
I've been paying attention for these last 30 years. I can come to conclusions like that now.
That's how you made the Broadcasters Hall of Fame. And again, congratulations to you.
Thank you. 1-2 to Mauer. Twins hoping to put together a threat here for the middle of the lineup. In the 8th inning, it was a nice start to a threat, but then it was the bottom third of the lineup that was due up. 1-2 to Mauer. Tap foul. Still alive.
Robertson has 3 good pitches. He has a good fastball in the low 90s. That curveball is kind of his strikeout pitch. He left that up a little bit, and Joe fouled it off. You know, here's a guy that might take Rivera's spot in that bullpen. Now, I remember Rivera when he came up as a starter with the Yankees back in 1995. Didn't really become a closer until 97 when he saved 43 ball games. But prior to that, his minor league mainly all as starters. So he had 1 minor league save. That was it. And now he's got 636 in his final year, and he's going to get some more. But Robertson only 9 minor league saves because he's been that setup man for Rivera.
2-2 to Mauer. Pulled foul. Let's just look it up here. Mauer's batting average with men in scoring position and less than 2 out, 318. That's a couple points higher than his overall average. So the fact that he has such a paltry RBI total not his fault. You got to get guys on base for your, middle of your lineup, or in this case, the number 2 hitter. Morneau in that category, hitting .341. Another foul. And so much of the lineup's success was predicated on Aaron Hicks doing well in the leadoff spot, and obviously that did not happen, and his successors haven't fared a whole lot better. 2-2. Mauer trying to get aboard here in the 9th. High fastball got him. 3rd strikeout of the game for Mauer. And the Twins are down to their last out.
And for Robertson, another strikeout, his 44th in 34 innings pitched. So the Yankees have some guys out on that bullpen that can come in and pick up some strikeouts. We saw Logan, we saw Kelly, and now Robertson.
Hadn't seen many offers for Arcia. He's got one today, 0 for 4. This is his 5th plate appearance, and he takes a ball.
And that's what he's going to get when he's moved up in the order. This might be the last out, but instead of being batting 6th or 7th, he's going to get more at bats.
One and one. With the premise that your 3rd place hitter is your best hitter, it gives you some idea how highly regarded Arcia is. At least by the guy who puts the lineup out. Inserting him between Mauer and Morneau, as Willingham, a right-handed batter, was put in there shortly after the start of the season. 2-1. 2-2.
Well, Willingham was there because he's a right-handed hitter. He's got power, 35 home runs. As a opposing manager, you don't want to bring in that lefty when you maybe have Willingham. There's that mix-up. But now 3 lefties in a row, but all 3 lefties have done a good job as far as hitting against left-handed pitchers. Arcia, of course, not a lot of at-bats in his rookie season.
This is coming into today, and to your point, Mauer hitting .359 against lefties, Arcia .286, and Morneau hitting .250 with emerging power. 2-2. Twins down to their last strike. Breaking ball, 3-2. Morneau on deck. On the ground to Cano. And the Yankees sweep the Twins in a 4-game series.
Well, Yankees, they've had some 4-game series here, but the first time they've swept the Twins since 2003, and the misery continues against the New York Yankees for the Minnesota Twins.
And Tom Hanneman for Kyle Gibson, the Twins starter. Not the results he saw in his major league debut.
You're right, Dick. Twins 0-3 in July. They fall to a season low 10 games below the 500 mark with this loss this afternoon. Coming up next on Twins Live, we break it all down, the second half struggles, and we'll hear from Gardy next.